And welcome back to MD Global Muscle here at the Rise Me Studio with me, your host, Giles Thomas, and we're joined all the way from Braintree, Essex, the in-studio guest, man of the match, star of the future, already here, Samson Dauda! Yes!
Hey. Oh man, thanks for having me here, man. It feels really good to be here. We've been planning this for a long time, and finally I get a break, and finally took a trip down. So
Samson, well, technically it's a trip up.
Oh, trip up.
So yeah.
Trip up north.
But first of all, thank you so much for coming all this way. I realise it's a long drive, but
no
I mean, I think it wasn't too bad the drive because you got that beautiful new ride.
Yeah, it definitely was not too bad a drive. Definitely enjoyed it, and it was my chance to test it out. You know, I haven't had a chance to do a long drive in it yet, so I had to get on the road.
Well, new car, you got a beautiful new home. I stayed at a few weeks ago, 3 weeks out from the Arnold.
Yep.
This year, you've had 4th place at the Arnold Classic, which is the second biggest bodybuilding show in the world.
I know.
Do you feel like you turned pro in 2017. Do you feel now that things are really starting to happen?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, I felt like from last year, ending of 2021, and sort of qualifying for the Olympia and doing them shows, and then now, I mean, after that last year, I already thought, man, this is, for me, it was like, wow, this is as good as it could get. Finally made it, finally qualified for the Olympia. So when this year was starting up, come up, and we obviously got the invite for the Arnold, I'm like, ooh, that's a bonus. Wow, this is great. But it turns out, man, it ended up being another kick up the arse, because that was amazing. That was just almost like a bump in everything, and it just made everything we've been working for all this time. Just really felt like, wow, it's all been worth it. What for you was like in 20 years' time, if somebody asked you this question, what's more memorable for you, winning your first pro show at Prague or 4th place at the Arnold? Wow, that's a tricky one, I mean, you're always going to remember your first pro win, just the same way you always remember your first pro debut and everything else. You always remember your first, but yeah, I mean, definitely, I think they are going to be very close. Obviously, your first Arnold as well. So, I don't know, man. I'm going to have to answer that 20 years' time. Honestly, this one definitely felt like it was the change of the guard. It was basically that moment where things really was like, okay, it was a confirmation that, yeah, you are meant to do this. This was set out for you. All that work you've been doing, all that grind and everything else, it was taking you somewhere. You were moving forward in it. And finally, after going through that, wow, yeah, I couldn't be more grateful, honestly.
I mean, I said this before in the kitchen. I mean, it's kind of, in one way, it was kind of a gamble that you were qualified for the Olympia really, really early. I mean, how many months did you have when
over a year. I mean, wow, we were talking about, what, 13 months at least?
So you qualified, and obviously because the Olympia was put back from September to December, and you got one of the first pre-Olympia, but the first qualifiers for 2022.
Yep.
And then, I was like, so why would you? Some people say, well, why would you want to do the Arnold? Just go and So, but you took the challenge and you pursued it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the thing is, like, obviously, we've always wanted to do the Arnold. Arnold was one of the show that I always had this dream and premise of, okay, one day I'm gonna do the Arnold. One day I'm gonna do the Arnold. So every year we apply for it, and every year we kind of wait out and don't get the invite. But like, okay, fair enough. Better luck next year. So this time it was almost like we finished the shows and everything else, and I didn't have any intention to do it. I was like, okay, sit out for the Olympia next year. We got a lot of time now. We can make a lot of progress and whatever. And obviously my coach, Milos, was like, I want you to do the Arnold in March. And I'm like, really? I'm like, well, I was already getting excited about the idea of resting for a year. He was like, no, I think you should do the Arnold. I'm like, well, you know what? Hell, if I get an invite, then 100% I'll do it. So we put it out for it, and I think it was pretty much in December, I think. We were kind of sitting out because we came off the show and we were like, don't go crazy. Don't completely go out of shape. Don't just turn it up and rest yet. Just see if you get an invite or not. And then we got it, and it was like, okay, I guess I'm back onto prep then. And, I was over the moon. I was excited. I was like, wow, yeah, this was what I've sort of always dreamed about. And there was no questions in our mind that after that are we going to do it or not? It was like, yeah, 100%. Firstly, I haven't done many shows in the US. This is pretty much my chance to come out.
How many have you done? So
I've only done Chicago Pro.
Chicago Pro?
And that was back in 2019.
You did Vancouver as well in 2019.
Yeah, Vancouver in Canada.
In Canada.
But those are the only shows I've ever done at that side of the world, So it was like, okay, this is your chance to really show not just what you are, but show your new style physique, show what you've improved on.
Yeah.
Really come out, you know, onto that scene. So it was like, you couldn't turn it down. I mean, you just couldn't. I was like, yeah, okay, you know what? My own fear was, okay, in that time, in months, we weren't going to make much of a progress. So like, look, we come over, last show was end of November sometime, and Arnold's in March. I'm like, you ain't gonna, there's not a lot of physique can change in that time, regardless of it. So I sort of told Milos, you know what, well, you know, we weren't going to change more, but at least we can sort of bring a better, sharper package to what we already did. I mean, that's what we could sort of hope for, and just see how we match up going against the of his top names in the world at that show. So it was like, all we can do is get a good gauge, and that from there we have pretty much 8 months to the Olympia, so we can then improve on that. I mean, I was like, yeah, I'll make you improve, don't worry about it. You improve. Yeah. I was like,
so when was this?
This was right after we did what was it, Romania. It was right after Romania.
Yeah.
And I was already kind of winding it down, thinking, okay, that's our last show, we're done now. And when he said about the Arnold, and when the Arnold came out, the invite came out, even before then, I was already kind of like, I'm not sure. And I was like, look, I want to improve. I don't think I'll improve that time. And that's when he was saying to me that, look, you improve in that time. I'll make you improve. And I've seen how your body's been working through the prep. And honestly, you respond so fast to everything I do. I know for a fact you improve in that time. I was like, well, I'll see when I believe it, actually. But, you know, so going from that on, he was basically, we went from that show, had a week rest. And I mean, a lot of people that know that when we finished the stage in Romania, I think we flew back to the UK on a Monday. By Tuesday, we picked up the keys to our new house.
Yep.
So it was literally the next day we went off to pick up the keys to the house, and immediately we started moving homes. And I'm doing up the house and everything else. So when we kind of went from there to go to a rebound and get ready for Arnold, it was the whole process. First, we were moving homes for a whole month. The whole month of December was just basically we were doing up the house. And then obviously during that period, I also got COVID in that period.
Oh my God.
But, you know,
yeah.
But, you know, I'm in a new house, I'm doing up the house, I'm like, I don't care. I just worked through it anyway.
So December was kind of not a write-off for training, but
it was a very like hit and miss sort of thing. And, you know, we had a few weeks where it was just horrible and everything else. But because I was so focused on obviously doing up the house and I was indoors, I was like, look, use it for that, you know.
Yeah.
So we did that. And then when the Arnold invite then came on, and we were like, whoa, okay. We basically were just on a rebound and we went straight into another prep. And, you know, Milos and his rebound effects and what he does, he really knows his stuff. And he's like, okay, I want you to do this, this, and this. Train like this, do this. And it just started clicking. And then I remember going up, I think we went up to about 109, it was about 290, you know, in the rebound. And from that point, we just started prepping from that weight.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was like, well, I don't really expect much to happen. You know, just go with it. And I remember he told me that for the first, I think it was the first 8 weeks of the prep, it didn't feel like we were prepping at all. It just felt like it was just giving me so much food. And we were eating so heavily and everything else. And I'm thinking we were about 10 weeks out. And I'm still I still just look like I'm eating food and just enjoying myself. It didn't feel like I was anywhere ready to start thinking about a show yet.
Okay.
And it felt like that. So 10 weeks out, still looking, I'm sending my check-ins. It's like, yeah, you're fine. Just keep piling, keep eating. I'm thinking, okay. 8 weeks out, keep eating. Just keep. And at this point I'm getting worried. I'm like, yo, Arnold, hello.
Yeah.
Take it seriously. What's going on?
Second biggest show in the world.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, this is not a good look, you know. And then from that point, he was like, okay, right, now start doing cardio. Now start doing this, start cutting your food a little bit. And then I remember that period, in 4 weeks, I literally went back to stage conditioning.
Wow.
In that time.
4 weeks.
4 weeks, because I remember I put that post, I have picture of my garden and everything. We were 4 weeks out.
Yeah.
And I went literally from pretty much rebound look to stage ready in that time.
Yeah.
And we were just looking, going, whoa, this is crazy. And I remember the whole period at that time, I only lost 5 pounds to go from that weight down the stage because I was 85 pounds at the time.
So sorry, just to get this clear. So your body was kind of like doing a bit of a wave effect. It was just kind of like the composition was just changing, but the scale wasn't moving at all. Was happening.
Because it was literally a check-in every week. And he was like, oh, yeah, you're looking leaner. You're looking, what's your weight? Oh, exactly the same as last week. Okay, see you next week. Oh, wow, you've lost a lot. Wow, you look shredded now. Oh, what's your weight? Same weight as last week. Okay, following on. And it was literally all that for, he got to the point where I was even getting worried. And if I wasn't seeing what I was seeing in the mirror, if we weren't standing going, whoa, you're getting sharper. If I was just trusting the numbers, I'll be looking going, this isn't good. This it doesn't make any sense. But we're looking going, but we can see what we can see.
Yeah.
It's happening. Why? Just go with it, you know? So 4 weeks out, I'm looking going, well, what else is there to come off? Like, I mean, it's like, you've got in that condition you were last year when you did obviously the shows, but I want to get that paper skin. I want to get really thin out. And I remember that point, it was basically just a struggle. He was pushing the food lower and lower, and he was really cutting in just to get every single bit of it off, like literally. And I'm looking and still scales weren't moving much. And, you know, within that whole 4 weeks of stage, I only lost 5 pounds to get to 280 to actually be stage ready.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, we're looking and going, okay, well, this is it. This is a crazy look. I remember when you showed up, I was like, yeah, this is where we are.
I couldn't believe how big you were. And and also, like, I think the thing that I think you're actually alluding to now is that you'd already done those shows. You, like said, December, you were moving house and you had COVID.
Yep.
And yet at the Arnold, you managed to turn up on stage 10 pounds heavier than when we saw you in Romania. I mean, I think it was when you posted some pictures from Prague. Yeah. And I think it was like, it was a few weeks after the Arnold, and that's when I saw the difference. I was like, holy shit, it's a different guy. How did he do it in such a short space of time?
And the thing is, like I said, I've never worked with Milos in an off-season. Remember, Milos came and joined me halfway through a prep.
Yeah, good point.
So he literally just picked me up and carried me going through it. So it got us in shape, got us in state and everything else. So in terms of premise of rebound and off-season, never done that before with him. So when he sort of noticed how my body worked during the prep and how we sort of changed and how we responded to everything he put, he already knew a long way that, look, there's genetic potential here, and what we're doing was so vast that there was a lot he had to work with. So when he was telling me, yeah, I can see you really going far in such a short time, and I was sort of like, yeah, we'll see. But then to see it happen in that time, we stood back, and it's so surreal because I still standing there and I still looked at it that whole prep I was still looking going, how can I be this big in this time? It doesn't make any sense. I haven't had an off-season. I haven't had time. How can I put on this much? And you keep going to yourself, keep going, you know what? I ain't going to say anything because it might just be too good to be true. I might just notice later going, actually, hold on. But I was looking at it going, you know, my partner, she's with me the whole way, and she's looking at it going, your legs look crazy. Your upper body looks crazy. Shoulder look crazy. He goes, everything you have is bigger and harder than you were last year. We can see less than a few months, we can see drastic change in it. You know, and obviously training session was freaking grueling. It was insane. And I remember that was the point where I obviously contacted Chris Jones as well and told him, look, I want to improve my back. I need you to sort of take me through your back session and put me through hell for it. And, you know, Chris is about an hour away from where I'm living. And he's like, okay, let's plan it. Every Monday, drive up in the morning, we hammer it out. And we do that every single week leading up to Arnold. I think we were 10 weeks out at the time. And I basically did that with him every week. And Chris, he showed me the definition of pain. You know, he punished me through the sessions, and them sessions were so grueling that he gave me this ability to tolerate pain a lot more than I ever thought I would.
Really? So he took you to a whole new level of training. I think the one that's the video, because I've seen all your training videos on thing, and I think I just saw something like a bit of a level up. I think when you were doing those pause squats. You were doing Smith machine squats, and you were stopping at the bottom with 4 plates. And I just saw the intensity and it was like I've never seen Samson train like this before. Yeah,
that was definitely a whole new level. And you know, when someone's sort of shown you that and showed you what you're capable of, you tend to want to spread it onto all your other training. So from that point on, I was like, well, if I can do that when I train my back, I know I can do it when I do my legs. I know I can feel through that when I do my arms, everything else. So when we then train our own, I was looking for that same amount of pain and that same amount of perseverance of how painful can I make something be to really do it. So although we were training back with Chris, I took it to my leg training as well. And those things like that is make it as intense and as painful as possible, and really go for that burn. Go for something that you normally would stop just shy of. Go for that deep part of it. And honestly, we stood back about it. I mean, I was sore the whole prep. I was exhausted, tired, so you know, everything you can sort of imagine. But you're looking at it every single time, you're seeing the results happen, and you're thinking, man, it just makes me want more of it, you know. So when we kind of pulled out, and we were like, obviously 2 weeks from the show, and we're looking at where we are, and we're about to fly off the following week to Arnold, to Ohio. And we're just looking and going, look, the whole prep for the first time is gone absolutely smoothly. It couldn't have gone better. There was no weeks where it felt like, ooh, maybe you should have lost more, maybe you pull back or whatever. Everything was totally smooth. And it felt like everything that was meant to click and happen at that time just happened. We wasn't forcing it. We weren't pushing it. We weren't trying to do anything crazy with it. We weren't like, okay, up your crazy cardio to this amount, drop your food to this amount. It was everything that we've already done previously, but your body just responded to it better. It almost felt like your body finally learned that, oh, that's what you want me to do. Okay, that's what I'm going to do.
So there was drastic changes, but minimal... Drastic changes to your physique in terms of body weight and size and development, but minimal actual changes to what you actually do to obtain that.
Yep, and that's exactly it. It was literally I mean, we talk about minute changes from the way we prepped at the end of 2021 to the way we prepped in 2022 was pretty much almost exactly identical. But it was literally, I mean, if anything, I think when we prepped in 2021, we actually cut the food a lot more than we did this time. Because this time, he didn't have me that low calorie compared to before.
3 eggs for breakfast.
No, we still had that.
Oh my God.
Oh, he still put
I
me
felt
through
for you when I saw that.
Yeah.
I thought,
he still put me through all that. But it just felt like the body was just responding so quickly to those changes. Like, he knew what was coming. We didn't have to push any harder. We didn't have to sort of drop any harder. The training was so intense. Everything else was just clicking. So when you're looking at the look and you're thinking, how could I be holding on to this much mass with that minimum amount of food?
Yeah.
And you're going, I really don't know how that's happening. Because normally, this is one prep where throughout the whole prep, I didn't flatten off. I could wake up any time in the morning and I never look flat.
So, sorry to interrupt, it's something just obviously popped into my mind. I mean, obviously a couple of years ago you were working in construction, you're working long days, you know, and you had to basically to put food on the table and pay for everything, and now you've got great sponsors like Hostile, and it's like you don't have to work now, you can live as a bodybuilder. And it sounds like an obvious question, but do you think like when Ronnie stopped being a cop, his physique again then went to another level because obviously he didn't have to get up at 6 a.m. and go do 10 hours and you know, so obviously it made a big difference to having just being able to be a full-time bodybuilder.
It made a massive difference. I mean, honestly, because for years where I've thought bodybuilding work full-time, it was always a juggling act. It was always, okay, you finish work whatever time, you're tired, you're exhausted, you're spent out, but whether you like it or not, you still have to go to the gym. You still have to get that workout, and you can't go half-ass at it because, I'm tired today. It still has to be just as grueling, just as painful and this and that. But even then, you know, there's only so much your body could take, and there's only so much you can give because you just didn't have the energy, or you know, anything for it. You were tapped out, but you're still trying to make it work in those sort of boundaries and everything else. And you still sort of manipulate everything to make it work and make it fit. You know, same thing with like eating meals at work. You know, you're falling looking for that job. I can't tell them, can I have a break every 3 hours to go eat something because I'm a bodybuilder? Not many employers are gonna be like, yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, no. You know, so you had to sort of cater for these things and run off and, you know, push your meal as quick as you can for 10 seconds and, you know, run back in and just not get in trouble and stuff like that. So you've sort of worked in that boundary for such a long time that it became the norm for you. So when all of a sudden all those chains and stuff that are holding you down for being the best bodybuilder you can be gets taken off, and they're like, okay, now you have free reign. Honestly, it just feels like someone just lit a firecracker in the room. It's just like, okay, I can rest as long as I need to rest. I can train when I want to train. I can eat when I want to eat. I can do everything exactly the way it should be as a full-time bodybuilder. So that just caused drastic change to happen immediately. It was more or less like someone just turned on the lights and go, wow, let's see what you really can do. And honestly, I couldn't help but thank Hostile enough for giving me that opportunity. And I mean, the reason why people are seeing that all of a sudden in the last 2 years my physique has transformed so fast is because now there is no chains holding me back anymore. There is no boundaries I gotta work within. I'm like, got that free reign of everything. So now, I think it's just pretty much a starting point. It's almost like you're finally seeing what someone can do if they are really a bodybuilder that can be dedicated to it fully.
We've spoke about this before, and obviously we know about the 2019 and those years, those crazy years. It's like, are you now thankful for those kind of obstacles and those challenges, because now you're in a position where you do have good sponsors and things are kind of really working out for you, that now you can maybe have added appreciation? And the thing is, it wasn't 20 years ago, it was a couple of years ago. So you know what it feels like to lose your job and think, oh shit, how am I going to pay I'm going to keep a roof over my head, let alone be a bodybuilder.
Yep.
So what is it? Do you actually, I mean, I'd imagine you feel quite a lot of gratitude now for the...
I mean, this is why I
to
keep saying,
have that kind of support.
People say, oh man, how are you so happy and so smiley all the time and you're so cheerful? I'm like...
You were 2 years ago.
I'm like, if you knew where I was coming from and what I had to persevere and kind of go with, you would understand. I mean, we were talking about a few years ago. Obviously, you work so hard to get your pro card. And you think, oh man, finally, I've got to the top of the ladder. I've got there. I'm yes, okay, fine, I'm a pro now. And you feel excited about everything. And it's cool. And you feel like, yeah, it's a great achievement. But you don't understand that you've just earned the right to be thrown in with the sharks, basically.
Yeah.
And, swim. And you have to swim. You have to find a way in it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, as much as it is, a lot of people don't make it in that pool. They just don't, because it's just so competitive. It's so tight. The competition is so raw that you have to find your way in it. And so to be in that position, and then you're like, okay, I don't have any backing from anybody else. You have to travel around to compete in shows. You have to eat the amount of foods pro bodybuilder have to eat. You have to do all those things that takes its toll. But yeah, you're financially debating on that. You're basically trying to feed that with a normal day job. Working overtimes, working this, working that.
Your day job wasn't like working in an office, or you were like, it was hard graft on a bloody construction site, so hats off to you, mate,
I mean, and that's it. And, and the thing is, my missus was doing the same thing. She was working fully just to be able to support me to get my dream.
Wow.
And, when you live in a household and you see that, and then show after show, you go after struggling the whole year, and you do a show and you do another show and nothing happens and you don't get the result you're hoping for, and you step back and you think to yourself, I can't watch my family struggle knowing that they're doing it for me and results are not coming through. I mean, there's only so many years a man can take of that, So when we did 2018, 2019, end of 2020, when it didn't work out, especially after what happened in 2020, I'm like, you know what? Because for me, 2020 was like, if it doesn't work out this year, I'm not doing this anymore.
Really?
Yeah, that was my 2020. It was
wow.
Like, so the reason why they said, oh, why are you going so hard to get a show? Yeah. I'm like, because I said at the end of this year, I said 2020, if something doesn't break through this year, I'm not bodybuilding.
Because anymore. You were bringing, other people like your partner into it, and she was basically, she was making sacrifices for you.
So, when I picked out shows and I was prepping all year and try and travel anywhere that would let me get a show in.
Yeah,
was because I knew that this year was do or die. If you don't make it this year, I've already said I'm not doing this again.
Yeah.
So went to Korea, did all that crazy stuff and everything else. And honestly, if it wasn't the fact that as bad as it was a blessing in disguise. That obviously I lost my job and then Hostile came in. At that point, I would have been like, there wasn't going to be a 2021. It was going to end all there. So after even as 2020 didn't work out, because we had that one saving grace at the end of 2021 that we actually got signed to Hostile, that was the beacon right there that told me, okay, even at the end of 2021, I was thinking, do I really want to do this again? Do I really want to do this? And I remember obviously coming off the end of 2021, I was speaking with Fuad and, we were having conversation with my missus and everybody else. And we were always saying that, look, honestly, I'm down. I don't have that drive. I don't want to give any more myself into this. I don't want to sacrifice any more of my family into this. And they both were talking to me and sort of telling me that, look, you have no idea how much you can achieve. Just stick with it another year. Trust me, another year. And I wasn't listening to it. I really did not.
Really?
I really didn't want to know. I really didn't. I was at that point where I was like.
So what? Sorry, when was this?
This was end of 2021.
End 21?
Yep.
No, 2020.
End of 2020.
Wow.
Sorry, my bad. So this is end of 2020.
Holy shit.
And it was the case of, it's not worth it. It's not working out. I got to focus my energy on something else. I can't keep watching my family struggle just to feed my dream, and it becomes a disappointment. So for me, I was like, nah. And I remember Fuad saying, look, maybe, you just need somebody external to help you out. Maybe somebody to sort of build you up and get you to that point where you need to be be competitive in these shows. So he's like, look, I recommend, obviously I've worked with John before. I recommend let John have a look.
John Meadows.
Yeah. Let John have a look at you. Let John see what John thinks. He'll give you his honest opinion. He won't just feed you what you want to hear. He'll tell you.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
So obviously that's how we got introduced to John, and John saw me and said, look, give me one more year. I bet you anything by the end of this year, the world will know who you are.
Wow.
And this is why I said, like, when I say obviously John changed a lot for me in 2020, and coming in 2021, people were like, I'm like, look, no, I was giving up on bodybuilding at that point. It was not going to be any more than that. So when we decided at that point that, okay, I'll give it one more try. And we went through the whole off season, and then obviously leading up to the show, and I'm finally holding my hopes up. Someone's finally giving me a chance to feel like it's possible. And then John passes away. You could sort of understand why at that point I'm thinking, really? I mean, after everything, you really gonna then take this one hope I have away from me? So, at that point I was pretty much thinking, nah, I'm done. So forget it, I'm done. And, and people were obviously coming out going, look, you've already started it. Just finish what you and John started. Just finish it off. And that's obviously when we sort of spoke about it and said, okay, let's find a coach that would really carry that on and help me finish this journey. And then that's when we hooked up with Milos.
So that was only, a year ago?
That was only a year ago.
1 year ago?
It was really that close ago. So if you know how drastic my life has changed from then to now.
Yeah.
And they say things happen for a reason. I mean, I honestly, you say people quit, you tend to quit right before everything gets to, you hit that promised land, you hit that gold.
Yeah.
And then that was basically my point where I was literally at that point where I was about to quit it. I was like, nah, it's done. And then obviously we sort of just pushed through, and then the Arnold UK happened.
Yeah.
We were like, whoa, okay, this is happening. And then we went from show to show to show. And that drive was there of, I'm not quitting until I get that Olympia qualification. If I'm going to do this, I'll do every single show for the rest of the year until I make sure I either get a win or I get enough points to go to Olympia.
I remember, because when we were speaking to you, and you said, Giles, I've got Egypt booked, I've got this booked, I've got that, and I'm just going to keep going. So I've got so many points that there's absolutely no way anyone could actually knock me off, and then you got the win in Prague.
Yeah, and that was basically that. And for me, that was basically for the first time it felt like, wow, okay, maybe this is actually happening. This is actually coming together. We do actually have a formula that works here. And then again, Arnold invite was almost like, oh, this is a nice bonus. Yeah, I'll do the Arnold as well. Yeah. Let's work towards that. And then going on that stage, and it really sort of like, it confirmed to me that, you have no idea how far you can go, how far you can really push, just now it's all or nothing. Give it all.
Because like I said at the start, I said before, I said doing the Arnold is, when you're already qualified for the Olympia and you've got 14 months and, and you beat some good guys, it's like, it was kind of like, do you really need to do this? Yeah. And then you kind of took the gamble, you went there, and you didn't just... Because I said to you, look, it doesn't matter where you place, as long as you look your best. Yeah. As long as you look your best, as long as you look good on an Arnold Classic stage, it doesn't matter you come, it doesn't matter where you place.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as you look your best. You did look your best, and you got a really good place.
And this is it, and that was it, because we sort of looked at it and going, okay, right, we're going to the Arnold, and we saw the lineup and think, wow, what a lineup. Okay, you know what? All we can hope for, man, bring our best and just see where we stack up. Half the guys on that list we've never stood next to before. Just at least it'd be a good confirmation going to the Olympia,
Yeah.
See how you standing, because no matter how much you see pictures doesn't do anything until you stand next to someone. You have to stand next to them and say, okay.
Because we said, like, even if you're just in the lineup next to someone like Brandon Curry or William Bonnet, then at least you know then,
exactly.
Okay, there's this much of a gap between me and the absolute top three guys.
And this is it.
Olympia guys.
And that was what Arnold was for us, is that confirmation of, okay, where are we? How good are we? Are we really that far off? Are we close? Give me something, So that was where that Arnold came in, and we were like, all right, let's bring our best and see what happens. Just get in the lineup and see what happens. And then obviously, as you watch when we went to Arnold, and everything else sort of clicked so well for that prep going to that show. I was like, okay, I know for a fact I'm at my best. Okay, let's see what happens. And the prejudging happened, and you see we come up on stage, and I was definitely feeling that, okay, shit, this is the Arnold. Damn. Yeah. Okay, this is the Arnold, and look who I'm standing next to. I'm like, oh,
so who were you stood next to in the lineup?
So when I think when we first came out, Brandon Curry was in that lineup.
You mean because they bring them out numerically?
They bring us numerically. So we had 5 guys, and I can't remember all the names of the first 5 that came out, but I know the first call out was me, Brandon, William Bonnet, Steve, Justin, and Brett Wilkins.
Wow.
And I think that was the first call out, you know. So at that point, you know, you're like, holy.
First call out.
Your first Arnold. So at that point, you're like.
So hang on. So I just want to get into that because we're going to come to this later. I'm going to bring the footage up and I want you to talk through it. But so this will be slightly later in the episode when we bring the visual up. But what was that like when you're literally waiting and Steve Weinberger, whoever is calling the names, and Samson Dauda to, I was like, what's your... take us through it.
I'll tell you this, right? Because obviously when we did the athletes meeting first, I was thinking, okay, you know when they have the athletes list, you know that you normally are based off your last name to how far down the list you come out. So you could be number 1, you could be number 16, you know, that gives you an idea. Normally, most of the shows, I'm normally hitting that number 5, 6 spot.
Okay.
You know, because of the D and where my name falls in. So I'm like, okay. So when we went for athlete registration, I'm hoping, okay, I won't be the first guy out. I definitely won't be. I'll be somewhere. And then they gave me number 1.
Oh.
And I'm like, I went back to the hotel. Me and Milos were like, well, you're number 1. I'm like, yeah. We're like, why are you number 1? How can you be number 1? No, you can't be number 1. And it was like, I was like, oh my God, this is not going to be a bombshell, but it's going to be good. I don't know. But
did it mess with your head a bit?
It did mess with my head. I'm like, damn, I'm the first guy out in the Arnold stage. God damn.
May as well.
This is, and you think, come on, man, at least give me a warm-up first, man. Let someone go in front so I can see them and go, oh, okay. Yeah. And then I can go.
Ask Brett Wilkins if you can swap. Let's swap with you, bro.
You know, it really felt like, man, how can I be number 1? Okay. So what you don't know is when you're standing backstage and you're not the first one to walk out, and, you know, Bob is giving us the presentation and everything else, and you're standing there, the tension is insane.
Really?
You are literally breaking it. You're
so
standing.
Hang on, you're as someone as confident and competent on stage. You were nervous.
Oh yeah, always. There's no look. Don't believe that everybody is nervous backstage.
Okay.
There's no thing. Anybody who says, "Oh yeah, I'm cool as ice."
Even with Milos giving you a thumbs up and you're checking yourself in the mirror.
It does not matter. We are all nervous. I mean, you're about to walk out in your pants in front of thousands and thousands of people. You can't tell me you ain't nervous. Come on. Yeah. Let's be real. So we're all nervous. You know? Yeah, when you walk out, the light hits you, you switch on. But at that point, you are definitely nervous. I'm standing there and I'm literally shaking. I'm like, oh, man, okay. Whoa, okay. You've practiced it, you've gone through it, you've gone through it in your head over and over and over. But being there and hearing the noise and hearing the roar and hearing the room shake, it takes a toll. It really takes your toll. It does bump your heart rate a few notches.
Did you really kind of grasp the magnitude of the fact? I mean, you've done some amazing shows, but did it really grasp the fact that you were like literally, there's only one show above this and that's the Olympia?
Yeah. You know, and the thing is, we keep going, okay, you know what, just take it like any other show. Just no matter what, just take, in your mind, just say to yourself it's any other show. So that way you can wrap your head around it. Well, every single part you say that, you go, but it's the Arnold. And every single time you say, oh, just act like it's another show. But then you go, but it's the Arnold. And you're thinking, oh, okay. So you're standing there and you're like, okay, I'm pumped up, I'm ready to go. Oh my God. And they call you out and you're the first person. Because normally when you have that, someone first goes in first and you go, okay, I see how they did it. Okay, I see where they stood. I see how the audience feel. Okay, I got an idea of what it feels like. Okay, if they make a mistake, okay, I'm not gonna do what he did. And you learn from that. That's what you do. You learn from that. You go, okay. And then so when you're the first one, everybody, you're the one that has to walk out and do anything else. If anything goes wrong, guess what? You're the first one and gets noticed. If anything goes out, you're the first one out.
You don't want to slip on some oil or something, do you?
You're the first. Oh, well, that's you. You know.
Everyone watching.
Exactly. So walked out, and I remember walking out to them lights and everything else, and man, it felt unreal. It felt like, because normally, no matter how much I was nervous, as soon as I walk out, I always seem to be able to just switch over and become, okay, game face, let's go. Yeah. It always just happens. I don't have to think about it. It just happens all the time. So when that light hits out, you walk out, it was like, okay. So walked in the middle, you know, hit the first few poses. I remember always going off, you know, they always say like, start how you plan to finish. So if you want to be confident and aggressive, start off confident and aggressive. So we come out, hit the most muscular. Crowd goes crazy. I'm like, yeah. And from that point on, it's like.
But the thing is, don't forget, this is a new Samson that not only has no one seen you really in America or at never at the Arnold Classic. Yeah. This is a new version that no one, and this is the first time you've displayed a version that no one has ever seen. Yeah. Apart from Milos.
You know, and this is it. And that I think that point, that gives you that excitement to it, because it's like, okay, I know I'm bringing something that they haven't seen. Yeah. And like I say, you know, bringing that and then being that big and then coming in and posing like that and showing off like that. It's something that hasn't been seen in a long time. So you have that in the back pocket to kind of feel like, okay, I'm about to show you something. So when you walk out, you know, hit the first most muscular and then go into the front double with a vacuum. That always seems to just change.
You know, when you did the Arnold UK and then you do that little flick with your leg, and then it just because you angle your body to the classic way, and it's just like, that's your that's what I think for me. That's like your signature, you know.
Yeah, you know, and you
the
know,
vacuum frontal bicep with a leg tilt. Oh,
you know,
beautiful.
And it really sort of sells it. Once you do that and you go through that, you almost feel like your first workout is always your point of, okay, show who you are, show what you're bringing. Really, this is your point to really, for them, they see you for the first time.
You're not here to participate. You're
show
here
that
to dominate.
You're here to be serious. You're not here to just be a number. You want to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
So going through all that, it really felt that way when I came out first. I felt like, yeah, okay, you know what? After that point, walking off that moment, I felt like, you know what? Regardless of what happens now, I know that I brought my best to the stage at that point. And I'm like, okay, I'm confident whatever happens there.
I think the big shock, for everyone, all the fans, even people like myself who've known you for years and we know your physique. I saw you 3 weeks out at your house. I think the Arnold Classic was good for placing aside how you look. It just made people realize how big you were.
Yeah.
And because people are like, is he really 280?
Yeah.
Is he really? But he looks classic almost. And then I think when we saw you next to someone, even like the monsters like Rodriguez and Kuklo, it's like, holy shit. I think that's when people realized how physically big you are. Because people see you as an aesthetic guy.
Yeah,
you are aesthetic, but you're also big.
But the thing is, that's always, because we always say that we have this problem all the time on Instagram that we just gave up. We're like, look, anytime we do a video for me and we post up, it was like, oh, but it doesn't look that big in video. And everybody goes, but then every single time, even when we went to meet and greet, everyone's like, I've seen your Instagram, but damn. I'm like, ooh, you're really that big. I'm like,
I think it was the hands class most muscular. Now you're next to like Rodriguez. I'm thinking, holy shit. I mean, you're dwarfing them, you know, because you're tall as well. You know,
and that's the thing, because we always have a smile and we always say that's always a trick we always keep in our back pocket, because it's like you don't ever get that because you're aesthetic. You look aesthetic, so. To be aesthetic and that big, it's not something you often see. If someone say, oh, I'm 300 pounds, you expect that sort of overwhelming.
But it's a compliment, because if somebody calls you aesthetic, it means you've got good symmetry, proportions, condition, and stuff like that. But the thing is, like people used to say Sean Roden and Cedric McMillan were aesthetic guys, but they were big. They were huge.
And this is it. And you know, you don't really get that. So you always take pride in that. You always smile and go, yeah, I love that. You know, I love having that approach.
I'll take it.
You know, and I'll gladly take that. And when you walk out on stage and they see that, and then you stand next to someone that's supposed to be big, and then you stand next to them and go, hold on, well, he's just as big? I didn't realize that. And then that's the point where people start realizing, oh, now we see, now we get it. So for me, even for me, at that point, I really didn't, I knew that, okay, coming in at 2'8", I knew that was a big weight. I knew that. But at the same time, you're thinking, but what is it like when you stand next to someone that is big, someone that is short, someone that is more stacked?
You stacked up well, mate.
You know,
you stacked up well.
So that's what the Arnold was for me. So when we came out, you know, and I said, like, even the pre-gen, because after pre-gen, I didn't know what I looked like. I didn't know what I looked like standing next to those guys. So you could see that even when we were doing the pre-gen, confidence wasn't there as much as it was in the finals. Because in the pre-gen, I was just, okay, you know what, this is what you have to do. Do your job. Go through it. And so we did the pre-gen and everything else. I remember, even when we did the first call out, I think at one point I was standing next to Brandon in that call out. And we were standing there, and I remember thinking, okay, front relax was always a pose I really didn't like. I hate my front relax. I've always hated it.
Why?
So,
Why?
Because it was one of the poses I didn't feel never flattered me.
Right, okay.
You know, so I remember the night before that show, Milos basically had me change it.
Okay.
And he basically had me go, but normally I would stretch up and open up obliques to look wider and bigger. He had me come down and crunch on the abs and let the abs pop out.
Okay.
And hold that flex in that way. Okay. So I was like, and we did it in the hotel. We all looked, and as soon as he had me do it,
I'm doing it now.
Yeah, everybody looked. You know, Milos looked at me and go, they was like, that looks, go do that, don't do anything, do that. And everyone was like, ooh. I was like, oh. He goes, no, that is the best.
So not by opening up as much, you actually look.
Come down and just.
Okay, so you look thicker.
Yeah. And we were like, they were all like, yeah, this is the one, this is the one. And I was like, okay. But even then, you still, I didn't feel confident from relax. So when we came out, and I was standing next to someone, Brandon, which when they stand from relax, they're like, whoa, they take up a lot of space. I'm thinking, okay, I don't want to stand from relax too long in front of them, because they'll be blowing me away just standing there. So I was there, you know, flexing quads and everything. I was just not trying to hold that from relax pose for too long. But the few seconds I did, everyone was like, holy shit. And I didn't know that until I came off stage. And I came off stage and Milos was like, what did you do? Why did you hold that pose? What did you do? And I was like, what? He goes, honestly, you did not see what. And he had to play me a video of it. And I looked and I go, oh. And he was like, yeah, he goes, you're going to be kicking yourself when you see that moment when you're standing next to everybody.
Yeah.
He goes, you didn't understand how much you dwarfed everybody in that shot.
Yeah.
That you should have held that. And I was like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that at the time. So when he played me the video, it was really an eye-opener for the first time. I was like, whoa, I didn't even realize our size was that much off next time.
Do you know one thing I like, though? I like the fact that you've been able to get bigger and not lose your aesthetics. If anything, by the way you've built your physique, it's actually enhanced your aesthetics. Yeah. Like some people, they put on 10 pounds and they lose 10 pounds of aesthetics, if that makes any sort of sense. But you... The way you've added the muscle to your physique, like I said, your upper body's thicker, so it's made your waist look smaller because you haven't thickened your waist. You're still hitting the vacuums. How do you think that how is it that you've managed to, how you feel that you've managed to maintain those aesthetics? Is it just by chance, or? No,
it's not just by chance. It's obviously the way we train and the way we do our diet and everything else. Because for me, the way we've always kind of trained right from the get-go is we've always sort of spread our workout based on body parts. Okay, if I know one of my body parts that's hard to grow is something like my calves. Yeah, my calf grow faster than my chest. My legs grow faster than my arms. Everything else. So guess what? We make those ones priority when we train. We put them as priority. So when you put on muscle, it spreads out evenly. Yeah. Because if I focus more on I'm going to just train more arms, I end up having big arms and looking very top heavy, while legs and everything else won't catch up. So we always look at my physique and going, okay, right. What part doesn't look symmetrical to the rest? Focus on that bit, okay? Put them as priority. Every part that grows very fast, just keep them nice and easy training. Just do whatever you do. Just don't put so much time. Do
you speak to Milos and then discuss it with Chris, or do you speak together, or how do you?
We speak all the time, every single time. Like every time I do a check-in, every time he goes, yeah, okay. Like right now, we want to put more mass on my shoulders. Yeah, we're like, okay, that has a priority this year. We want to put more mass in the back. Priority.
I think back in delts for you.
Exactly. Yeah. So we coming off the Arnold, that's what we learned. Yeah. Like, okay, guess what? They're the most priority workout we have. So those days, I'm working them. They have to be specific days. They have to be really them training days. I don't even mess around with. It's okay. Those ones you go for broke. You break your back for them.
I think when I was at your house, I think when you hit your side chest, I noticed that because you just done your cardio, you hadn't had breakfast yet, so that's you technically at your flattest. Yeah. I think when you hit the side chest, I couldn't get over how full your upper chest looked. Yeah. It looked like you just trained it. Yeah. And I thought, if you're looking like that's where I said you've really improved your chest and you've really improved your legs, because your legs were just ridiculous how much size you put in your legs, but it still flows well, But you're like, if you can get your upper chest popping in the morning when you've done cardio, it's like, imagine like when you're pumped and carved up and everything.
And that's it, So those things we have to pay loads of attention, but at the same time, we have to always pay attention to my midsection. If it looks for 1 minute, because even in off season, if it looks for 1 minute that they're looking a bit distended or they're looking a bit wide, they don't look as they don't look like a bodybuilder, then it's like, okay, we're having a problem now. We have to go back. So same thing, like I'm practicing the vacuum all the year round. I'm making sure that all year round I still have abs regardless of how much weight I put on. Yeah. All those little things that we pay attention to say, okay, right, although you're bringing up these body parts and everything else, don't lose this part, don't lose them ones. If my quads are growing too fast and my calves ain't catching up, guess what? I have to pull my quads down and increase the calves one. Same thing. So every vice versa. So we always paying attention. This is how we've always mode our training in every session, every year. We get on stage, we come out, we look at the pictures, we look at everything, look at the videos and go, okay, right, we think you need more of this, you think we need that. Before most people have even noticed it, we've even noticed. I mean, we noticed my shoulder about 3 years ago. We were like, okay, you need bigger delts. And we've been training them since then 3 years ago. But now it's got to the point where we want them to be as thick and as round as the chest is. We want them to really be that more pronounced now. So guess what? We need to now pull things back or prioritize them so much more that we have to get them that way. Yeah. Same thing with the back. We want the back to be as impressive from the back as the front. I mean, we noticed that a few years ago.
Your back, if you, because I saw, obviously we're doing, myself and Lauren doing the live stream Romania, I saw huge improvements in your back from the Romania to the Arnold. Yeah. And I just think if you can keep doing that, keep improving, because I think, I've actually said this, I think you've got the potential to have like a legendary readable bicep. Yeah. I think with your structure and your shape, Flex Wheeler, Chris Cormier.
Oh, yeah.
I think you've got a Ronnie Coleman. I think you've got the potential to have to your. I actually think that could be your best pose one day.
Yeah, and this is the way we're training. This is the way we're prioritizing to make it the best pose one day. To make it that when you turn around to the back, it's like, okay,
lights out.
Yeah, if you get, it was one thing we would say, like, if they won't beat you from the front, make sure that they can't beat you from the back. They won't touch you from the back. You know, at that point, it's like, well, that's the lights out point at that point. So we know that we have to train in that manner. We have to push things, prioritize things in that manner, because we know this is things that we need to bring up to make it catch the rest of it. So when we look at, they always say, oh, what's your best pose, whatever. I'm just like, if I have a best pose, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And people are like, what?
I was actually going to ask you that, but I was thinking, if
I have a best pose, that's a problem. It should be a case of, well, we just can't pick out every, because people, he doesn't.
It should be a debate.
Exactly.
It should be a debate.
Well, like, I like this pose, but no, but I do like his pose. But I do,
Yeah.
and this is why I feel like, that's what I want to be like. That's what I want to. I feel like a complete bodybuilder should be like. Shouldn't be a case of, well, he has a good front double, but his front lat spread is debatable. He has a good this. But debatable. It shouldn't be that way.
One thing I'd like to ask is, obviously, because you showed me the posing routine music, and you told me you were going to do like a tribute to Kevin Navrone, Flex Wheeler, and Sean Ray with your posing routine. What was the response like from those athletes? Because you know, those legends of the sport. The
one person that was shocked me, which I didn't expect much of a response from, but I did, was Kevin Navrone.
Wow.
And honestly, his response was actually, he was like, whoa. I didn't expect, because he messaged me straight after I posted that up. And he was like, man, it was an honor to have you actually do that.
Wow.
And honestly, he really hit me. And I was like, wow, that felt like, man, that was awesome. That really felt, it just felt like, if anything, that made it all worth it. At the end, I was like, that was so cool, you know. So it's those kind of things that you're thinking, like, them guys still pay attention to the sport. They still see what's going on, and to have them sort of see what we're doing and seeing that these guys are still look up to them as much as we do and still hold homage to them in that way. I mean, that's great. I mean, what more can I ask for? I mean, this is dude that, I mean, I was watching way back then and never even thought for one day that I would even get the opportunity to do that on a stage.
I did like the Flex Wheeler part where he went to the front of a bicep, and I was like, because I was visualizing like Flex Wheeler at the 98 Arnold Classic, and I was just like, I can imagine Flex watching it like with tears in his eyes going, oh bro, I love you, man, I love you.
You know, I remember like, I've always had that idea and that routine for a long time. I always said, you know what, if I ever get to the Olympia, that's a routine I'll do for the Olympia, my first Olympia. I always said that, I would like to do something like that. And obviously when we got the Arnold invite, I was like, is it the time? Actually, you know, first Arnold, maybe this is the time that we can put that routine there. So that's the first time I even told anybody. I told my miss about it. I go, I have this idea for routine. Tell me what you think about it. And I said, okay, I got these 3 guys. I'm going to take their routine together. I'm going to splice it all together and do a bit for each one of them. And they were like, ooh, you know, that's a lot of work, right?
I think the thing with your posing is that you can see that it's a very expressive, important part for you. It's not like, okay, I've got to put a posing routine together. Okay, we've got to put some nice transitions. We've got to do this. It's like, it feels to me like you really love it and you really want to do it and you really want to put something on. It's like you obviously you put your physique together with a lot of thought and planning, you know, with Milos and Chris and everybody else in Malenka. But it really feels like with your presentation, that feels like that's the bit.
Yeah,
you know, that seems to me like the bit that you really thrive on.
Because for me, I feel like, you know what, people come to shows, and there's so many times we've been to shows and you watch the show and it gets to the routine part and you literally just see everybody just drift off.
Isn't it like this?
It's like, yep, everybody, you just
quad
like,
wobble.
And it's almost like, okay, if I'm going to go to the bathroom, now it's the time I'm going to go. If I'm going to get my phone out and check on my messages, now it's time. And it's like, okay, have they gone past that? Yeah, they're still on routines. Oh, okay. And it feels like, and you feel like it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. This is the part where people go, oh, right, this is the exciting part. I get to see what each person can bring.
Yeah.
That's
and your personality
you know,
as well. And like when you did the John Meadows routine, you know, it was like really, like that was captivating to watch. It was like, it was emotional. It was really, there was people watching that with tears in their eyes, you know?
And you know, like every time I go through the prep, and you go through the prep, and we all struggle through prep. But through that struggle, you know, there's always certain things that you remember.
Yeah.
Be it the struggle, be it the training, there's something to remember. And I always feel like during that period, I have to take something from that to bring into that routine, to show, almost tell a story without actually saying a word.
Yeah.
So, you know, because throughout the whole prep for the Arnold, I remember I was watching all the Arnolds. I was watching the Kevin Lavrone's when he won the Arnold. I was watching Flex Wheeler when he won the Arnold. I was watching Sean Ray's Arnold. So I was watching these guys and I was thinking, okay, getting that feeling, what it must have felt like, you know, for them when they were doing it, getting that and say, okay, I know what it must have felt like when I was watching them guys pose and watching their routine for the first time.
Stays with you.
It stays with you.
Stays with you.
So I'm like, okay. I don't remember what must have felt like an audience watching that at that time. You know, I'm thinking we have a lot of people that remember those routines that are still here now. That just think to themselves, you know, I've never seen anything like that.
And surely, like, funnily enough, like, there's a picture of Vince Taylor in my kitchen I took in 1995. I don't know if you saw it. And it's like, you were 4th place in an Arnold Classic. Vince Taylor, because Milos posted the 1996 Arnold Classic, which for me, I think is the greatest Arnold Classic ever. And I said that was the greatest Arnold Classic lineup ever. And Vince Taylor liked it.
Oh, yeah.
Now, he was 4th place at the Arnold Classic. So now here's a guy a year ago that was on about just doing it, and there you are coming 4th in the Arnold, you know, and your name is instantly thrown in with the greats, like these legends.
You don't feel honored about it. I mean,
it's an honor,
That is a definite honor, you know. So it feels like when you go to a routine, you have to give people something to remember.
Yeah.
You know, you want them to, you know, there's always a time when they be like, oh man, I remember when you did that routine. I remember when, you know, and even until now, the amount of messages I still get saying, oh man, the Arnold UK, when you did that routine for John.
Yeah, beautiful.
Up to now, I get so many messages about it going, wow, that was the most amazing thing ever. And I'm thinking, you know what? Yes, this is what you want to give people a memory, give them something. Because honestly, some shows, they'll forget who won the show. They'll forget, you know, who placed where and whatever. But the way you make them feel at that time, people do not forget that. They remember the feeling, they remember the emotion they felt at that time. So if you bring that out of someone doing that moment where you're on stage, they remember it forever. So you think, why would you not want to give your all to make that happen? I mean, hell, we're going to forget who won this and who won that, and who placed where, but they will always remember that. They'll always remember if you give them that feeling. So when you do every show, you have to take that into consideration that, I mean, everybody remember the first time, even when you guest pose. I mean, everybody could say, I know every single person could say, oh, I remember the first time I saw Dorian Yates guest pose. Exactly. That look.
Yep, I remember,
that look, every single time. Remember the wide,
February 1994, Sidmouth, Devon. Bob Bastian was the promoter, and it was before he ripped the bicep. I'll never forget it.
You see, everybody has a memory for the first time they saw one person that they whoa.
And it certainly made me feel freaked out because it was incredible.
Exactly.
Anyway,
so why don't you want that as a bodybuilder, don't you? Because that transcends your career. That transcends everything else. That connects you to a period in history. So I felt like, you know what, every time I want to get on stage and do a routine, I want to be able to mark that point each time to say, okay, that connects me to it. And, you know, if people get that, some people don't. And I'm like, look, fair enough, but I know what I'm trying to achieve by it and what I want to get by it. That when all this is done, people are going to be, oh yeah, 2019, oh I remember that. Oh, 2021, that routine in the UK, I remember that. Oh, freaking out, 2022, your first Arnold Classic, oh I remember that.
They'll be the ones that say, oh I was there.
Exactly.
When someone posts that video, that posing routine in 10 years time, they'll go, oh I was there. I was there.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. So this is
like,
it.
No way, I was there, you know, like when
this is it, you know. So you know, this is why I feel like, you know, you gotta remember that what you actually presenting on that stage isn't just your image at that time going in most musculars over and over again and walking up and down the place. You're creating a lot of memory for a lot of people that are there. So make it something that they would remember, you know.
Samson, it's feeding time for the Nigerian Lion. It's 5 o'clock because I promised I'd stop at 5 to have a little break so we can feed this guy, because I don't want Milos on my case bullying me. I always make promises when I've got his boys in the studio. So, right, okay, guys, we'll be back right after the break. You're going to feed Samson. I'm going to have a coffee, and we'll be right back very soon.
Oh, brilliant.
Okay, guys, we are back for part 2 with one thing, Samson. Isabel Terrell said your name is pronounced Dauda. Can you confirm whether I've been saying it wrong for the last 5 years, please?
Oh, well, how you say it?
Dauda.
Yeah, that's it.
That's different to Dauda.
Yeah, but they just drag it out to sound like a show. Right? It's Dauda. But obviously they drag it out. And Bob Chickarillo's the one drags out when we come on stage. I'm like, yeah, I like that. Go on.
Dauda! He really builds it up.
He really does make it like into a show. I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a real hype entrance, that one.
So how do your family say it?
Oh, Dauda.
Dauda.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Right, okay then. You all fed up? All fed, not fed up.
Yes.
Fed up.
Yep.
All good?
Oh, yes.
I think you've actually expanded, mate. Seriously.
Having them carbs in there.
Seriously,
Oh, yeah.
seriously. Whatever anabolic chicken Milos has given you, it's clearly working. Right, okay, I want to go to your Instagram account because we want to see what's going on with you. So obviously go to Samson Dauda. 99,000 followers. You're picking up there, mate. You're getting a few there. Man. I bet you haven't bought any.
I haven't actually, because honestly,
you have.
I haven't.
Oh, you said you have then. No. I was like, oh my god, no.
No. But no, honestly, I mean, since the Arnold, he's been crazy. I mean, since we even got the invitation for the Arnold, he's just been going crazy.
Really?
So yeah. So I was like, oh, okay, this is nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's nearly 100,000 people want to know what Samson's up to.
That's weird, isn't it? That's weird to me.
That's brilliant.
I'm bored.
I like your social media though.
No. Really?
No, I do.
That's my life. It's just normal things. Like.
Right now, Samson, I want you to let's both go through your Instagram account, fill out, pick out a few things of interest. This lad was with us in Sweden.
Oh yeah,
Carlos.
Oh, he was talking to me about it because he was in Sweden doing the show as well. Him and his Mrs. Tilda.
Yes.
Because basically she did wellness.
Wellness, correct,
yeah. So she was really good. Yeah.
Tilda. Yeah. I said that was his girlfriend. You said it wasn't.
No, Tilda.
Yeah, I said that was his girlfriend. You said no, it's not his girlfriend.
No, I thought she was with
Oh. First of all, your arm looks like it looks like. Do you know what it looks like? It looks like a horse's leg. Fucking hell.
Oh dear.
I mean, that looks like the size of his body.
We were just having fun there, man. We were like, because the thing is, you ever find that like you go to shows, right? Everywhere you go, you're like, let's take a picture. I'm like, yeah, cool. And I just like stand there, but people always want to do the whole angling thing. I'm like, man, it's happened so many times. Like, I couldn't you go on, you do you. I just stand here. So when we were about to take a picture, oh man, don't. I'm like, no, you want to do it? Let me show you how we do our angling. This is how it is. This is how you do it. But most of the time, you just, I don't know. A lot of people want to do that. I'm like, if it makes you feel better, go ahead.
I said when I did the Phil Heath tour with Phil in 2019, and I said about because I did a picture of him when we trained together. Yeah. I angled back like that. I did a Ron Harris.
Yep.
To try and I spoke to Phil about it in the car, and he says angling. He said that's such a white guy thing to do. That's what he said. I was like, he said, yeah, you white boys trying to look bigger than me. It's like it's never going to happen next to Phil Heath.
You know what I mean? You just look at it and go, go ahead then.
My God, your arm looks. I mean, your delt there. I mean, it's just. When was that taken? Last week?
That was last week. Yeah.
Cool. So how do you know Carlos? Is that from Colchester?
Oh, I've known him from Colchester for a long time. We've known for a long time now because we used to train in the same gym, and we were only just met last week. Obviously, Tilda being with Hostile as well. So
that's right. Yeah, she said. Exactly. Yeah, she said.
Well, we moved to Braintree down. They're training just next town over, so I came down to check out their gym, and it was an awesome gym. Really good gym.
Wow. Yeah, he looked great, by the way. He took 9th, and I said to him, I said, you'll make a great 212. Oh, yeah. Because he's got a beautiful aesthetic physique. And I said, don't be discouraged because you were in a fantastic lineup there in Sweden. So, So you hadn't seen him for a while?
No, I haven't seen him for a while, and that was the first time we kind of caught up since after the show and just chatting to him. But
Samson, don't out-angle me.
Showing how it works, yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, King. Right, okay, then let's go to something you want to just pick out. Anything you want to talk about, anything you want to be of interest.
Up there, we got a recent look, just up a bit more there on the right.
That one.
That was literally on, what was that, Monday? On Friday?
Wow. So I can't believe that's off-season.
That is, right now, that is what we're sitting at right now.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go on.
Your delts look like they've grown, mate.
And that's what we're hoping for, man. Now we just want to keep working that and improving on that look, especially from where we've been. So it's like, okay, we got to improve on that. Don't lose none of the lines, not anything, but to have that.
Oh, it's a bit loud. Sorry, I didn't realize the music was that loud. I look at your upper chest there is, if anything, it's equally as thick as your lower chest. So your chest is good to go now.
Yeah. So,
let's have a look at the back.
So
your shoulders, there's definitely something happening in your shoulders that I didn't see a couple of months ago.
Because now, as I said, every show we do, we change focus on, we know the two things we want to focus on, back, shoulders. Yeah. So guess what? That's our main focus will be those for the next few months now. It's like, okay, make them come up as much as they can in that time. Yeah. So it's like, okay, we really have to focus on those. So yeah, that's what we've just been doing so far. So we still got a long road to go, but
I've got to say, I said before we started filming there, I said my friend Nick, I forgot Nick's last name. My best friend's Nick. I forgot his name. I said, because he wanted to pop over and say hi, and I said, oh mate, Samson, one of your favourites. I said, Samson's coming up tomorrow. And he says, tell him he's a future Mr Olympia.
Oh, thanks, man. That's awesome.
I forgot what else he's. Do you know what? you're talking in the first part about last year, you know, almost like thinking about quitting.
Oh, yeah.
And now here you are a year later. And it's not just my friend Nick that's saying it. A lot of people are saying, future Mr. Olympia.
It's insane.
What is that like to hear?
Honestly, it's surreal. It's insane. It's like something you think. I mean, up till now, it still hasn't hit home yet, because you always say, honestly, to me, it still feels like they're saying it just be nice. Like, you guys be nice, but you've heard so many different people say it. And obviously, I mean, Dexter Jackson, he said it to me, and Phil said it
Dexter
to me.
said that.
So when guys like that, and Jay Cutler said it to me, when those guys that you know they've been it, telling you, look, keep your head straight. You're really on a. It's like it's a blow. It's like, honestly, when we were in Ohio and Boston and everything else, I couldn't take it all in. It was so much, and I'm like, wow, okay, all right, this is really happening? And you're hearing that, and you're thinking, okay, wow, this is definitely different to what previous years we've had, and obviously feedback from previous years we had. So, and now it's like, okay, you know what the goal is, you know what the dream is. Now, are you ready to work for it? And I'm like, hell, I was ready to work for it before I even knew I had that. So let's go.
I mean, think about when you were in that hotel room in Korea for weeks.
Exactly.
I mean, here you are, like I said, a couple of years later, now people are saying, look, this guy has got... Because the thing is, it's not just, like I said, it's not just fans or kind of like someone on Instagram, Mr. Olympia, you know, they say it to 50 different people. You've got like actual Mr. Olympia saying it, very knowledgeable people, because... I mean, think about your physique, right? I mean, it's got everything. It's got aesthetics, it's got size, it's got balance, it's presented beautifully, it's got small waist, I mean, the list goes on. So, I mean, plus, I think physiques like yours, I think could potentially, I don't want to say save the open class, but, you know, we want to see physiques like that, like Mr. Olympia, like yours. We want to see these kinds of physiques because... You know, you don't look like you're about to keel over.
No, I know what you mean.
Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. And I completely understand it. You know, like for us, this is what we sort of always looked to, and what it's almost like the bodybuilding that inspired me to become a bodybuilder. What I watched and what I saw, you know, the Flex, the Sean, those are kind of physiques, and you know, that I looked at it and I couldn't take my eyes off it. I'm like, wow, my God. What would it be like to look like that? Wow, how beautiful is it? And I didn't know anything about bodybuilding, but I could look at it and just watch it over and over. And you're like, those were inspiring. So I felt like, look, that is what I want to present. Is what inspired me to go into this. So, in likewise, it didn't inspire other people with that sort of idea of this is what bodybuilding is. You know, it's not just about the mass and the muscle and everything else. There's a lot more to it than that, and you can see it. And it's something that you want to be able to see, and people look and go, wow, that's just beautiful. It's not just, ooh, that's big and freakish, but it's also beautiful. And that's what we wanted to solve. We always say, okay, right, this is our target. So things like, you know, waistline, all the lines, the sharpness, everything else, the details has to matter a lot more than just overall sheer size. You have to put a lot in there. If I ever get to the point where I'm so big and I don't have that, I can't pull the vacuum and hold my waistline in. Then we've gone backwards. We need to go back and. Or you're
literally walking to the top of your stairs and you're having to hold on to the banister before you walk into the bedroom.
That for me.
No one wants to be like that.
No, that for me is okay. It's now we've gone too far. We got to backtrack. So for me, this is things that we watch out for constantly. And the good thing is, I have the right people in my corner that have seen it happen to other people, and they can look at me and go, okay, no, you still, that's good, you know, and they can see and let me know when, okay, he's getting a bit out here. So
do you think? I mean, let's take the when Sean Roden won the Olympia in 2018. Do you think that kind of physique is it's not, like I said. I mean, personally, I would rather have a physique of, say, like a Sean Roden than like a Big Ramy. Big Ramy's impressive. But, you know, who's going to want to look more like...
Yeah, and this is the thing with bodybuilding. I mean, Arnold said it himself, is like when you look at physique, it should be a physique that you wish to have, physique that you aspire to go, ooh, I wouldn't mind looking like that, I wouldn't mind having that. Not something that you think, oh, wow, it's big and impressive, but I wouldn't want to look like that in my best day, you know. It's something that you have to have something more to it. And I think Open has sort of moved away from that for a few years now, and now I'm seeing guys that are bringing that look back, are showing that, okay, there is a balance between just having, you can still have the size, but just because you have the size doesn't mean you can be aesthetic as well. You can't hold your waistline in and everything else. It is possible to do it, you know, because it's always been the premise is, if you get so big, you have to lose, something has to give, you have to lose your waistline, but then it's almost like we want to break that mold to say, no, there is a way to do it. It might take a longer time. You might not get it next year and just bam, just like that, put on size that quickly. But if you gradually build it up and refine it, you can make it happen. And, you know, seeing guys now that are coming out and being able to hold that aesthetic look and still be open is something you look and you go, wow, this is beautiful. I mean, I look at Prague last year, top 4 guys in Prague. Look at the lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, when was the last time you saw open lineup?
That's true.
With 4 guys, top 4 guys, with tiny waist, you know, round muscle bellies, looking beautiful. I mean, I even stood back after that show and looked and go, wow. If I wasn't part of that show, I would look and go, man, that's impressive to watch. That's beautiful. You know, so to see that, I mean, come on, it has to inspire. It has to make you feel like, yeah, okay, there's time. The turn is coming, and that change will happen. It's just a matter of time. Do
you think there's a point at which your physique could get too big where it was actually almost detrimental? Because like Sean Roden, to win the Olympia, he didn't have to turn up 30 pounds heavier than the year before. He just had to come in super shredded and diced, and this is it. And they went, okay, that's incredible, because that's completely different from a big Ramy's physique. But all he had to do was just bring that level of refinement.
And this is it: is you have to know, okay, yeah, you do need the muscle. Yeah, you do need the muscle to be recognized. You do need, it's a muscle show. You do need a muscle, but then at the same time, you have to know when it's time where you be like, okay, I have the muscle. All I need is refinement, not more size. Okay, because the thing is, bodybuilding, we all fall guilty to this. Is every time you go and say, oh, he just needs 10 pounds more. Oh, he just needs another 10 pounds. Oh, another 20 pounds. Another. But they don't understand that reflects on a bodybuilder that might look aesthetic. But when you keep telling him, oh, he needs another 10 pounds, he needs another 10 pounds, he needs another 10 pounds, and then he starts chasing that in regards to, okay, that's what I need. You then lose the one thing you already had before, because the more size you put on, eventually all that has to go somewhere. Something has to give. Yeah. So you have to understand that you can't keep chasing that size. You have to then say, okay, right, maybe he doesn't really need 10 pounds. Maybe all he needs is he needs to bring back up, he needs to bring his shoulder up, he needs to bring this part up, not actually the overall size. He just needs to bring things, give an illusion of him being 10 pounds heavier. And this is where there's a big difference between somebody looks bigger, but are they really bigger?
Here's a question. Okay, one of your heroes, Flex Wheeler. What was your favorite ever version of Flex Wheeler? In what show? And I know you'll be able to see the show as well.
No, 1993.
1993. Yeah. 218 he weighed.
Yeah. Oh, you see, and look at
and by the end of his career, he was competing at around. He said to me at the British Grand Prix '99, he said he was something like mid 250s. Wow, so that's nearly 40 pounds
in that time.
And was he better?
Not as tight. It wasn't as refined as it was back then. Though. He wasn't as refined.
Was it a better physique? He was bigger.
He was bigger, but I wouldn't have said go as far as say. I mean, it's not the one we remember the most, is it? Nope. You know, and this is the thing, and. Bigger is not always better. People need to understand bigger is not always better. And yes, I know you do need muscles to hold on to that, have that aspect when you walk out. But at the same time, it doesn't necessarily mean you need to be bigger, you know. And this is where you have to have the right people around you to say, okay, you know, he just needs more refinement, and stop using the word, oh, he needs to be bigger.
So slightly improved back and delts in your best ever condition ever. I think that's as good as or as big as your physique would need to be to literally win the Arnold Classic or the Olympia.
And this is it. And so with that note, doesn't it then sort of put my perspective, gives me a better perspective when you give me a feedback like that. So now I don't go away going, oh, I need to be 10 pounds bigger. I need to be bigger. So guess what? I'm going to try to push on more size. Instead, I'm going, okay, I need to train my back harder. I need to train my delts harder. Yeah. This is all that falls in my mind when you get that feedback. So as much as people don't understand, the feedback you give bodybuilders does implement the physique you see on stage. You know, if a judge comes to you and say, oh, you need more size, the person is going to go away with the idea of, oh, he needs more size. If you know, judges, they'll come to you and say, oh, you need better legs, you need better this, you need to increase this, you need to increase that body part. The person goes away with the idea of, I need to increase this body part. They're going to put on size anyway. But the idea, they don't push for the idea of just putting on size. Now they push for the idea of, I need to do this to increase these parts. So the way we give feedback has to be more refined. It has to be, okay, don't just bang on about, oh, he needs more size, and just give him more of
it annoys me that, actually.
Because when you say that, honestly, because we're bodybuilders, we want to be the best, we want to be better version of ourselves. So when someone tells us, oh, you need to work on it, and we hear that repetitively, that's what we go home with. That's the idea. And then, You know, guys get bigger, and then you say, "Oh, he can't hold his midsection. He
There you
lost
go.
all his line." You go, "What happened?"
What you need is you want to get to the point where people are arguing over what your best pose and your best body part is.
Exactly.
You want people going, "No, it's his arms. No, it's his chest. No, it's his legs." Or
Exactly.
you know, and same with poses. Plus, now I am leading on to the health aspect of bodybuilding because. You know, like if people keep saying, like you said, 10 more pound, 10 more pound, 20 more pound. And at what point, especially with all these deaths, I mean, literally, I have not really addressed the Cedric McMillan situation because we recorded the episode before the Sweden episode.
Yeah.
We recorded it literally just before the news came out. So as a current competing athlete, you've competed with Cedric, you've competed with Sean Roden, you've competed with, you know, all these bodybuilders. What's your feelings? What's your feelings overall on that?
Honestly, if you get if someone can say and say it doesn't, it scares you. It scares you. I mean, how can you not? You see that and go, damn, okay. Hell, am I going to be next? It scares you. And the thing is, we love this sport and we know we've dedicated our lives for it and we know we've taken the risk and we know that I wouldn't change it for a world. I'll be like, yeah, this is what I chose to do and I'll gladly give my life up for it because I've chosen to do it and it's changed my life for it. But at the same time, it does make you step back and go, whoa, hold on. Really? Already? You know, so at the same time, you have to now take in account and go, okay, right, what do I need to do to be better? Do I need to weigh up the risk compared to the result? And stop following the idea of, oh, I need to do this much to get to the next step. Yeah. Because that is what scares, that is what makes things like that happen. And you do really need to sort of kind of take into account, okay, right, there's only so much the body can take. And you really need to know your limit way before the world tells you what it is, you know.
But you know what the scary thing is for me? Is the fact that Sean Roden and Cedric McMillan weren't the mass monsters.
No.
They were big guys,
and this is
but they weren't like the guys that were winning because of how big they were. That's what frightens me.
And this is why I say it scares me, because obviously if it was the mass monsters, guys that was really over the top, I'd be like, well, yeah, okay. But when you're seeing guys that have similar physique to yours and your style is happening to them, I mean, how can you not stop and go, and take account, okay, I hope I'm all right. What am I doing? You know, maybe I need to sort of watch out and everything else. You have to. I mean, you have to be crazy not to look at it in that way. So when I say about, you know, I've been given advice from everybody, from top pros to everything, saying, look, don't chase the size. Don't chase what people are telling you. If they keep telling you, if they keep telling you, oh, get bigger, get more size, that won't help. You don't listen to it. Trust the small people in the corner because they'll tell you the truth. Yeah. And they will look after you when your ass is in the hospital. No one else will. Yeah. They're the ones that are going to be there by your bedside to see.
I think it's lazy advice when, you know, I went to the judges' feedback and they just said, get a lot bigger. Yeah. You know, for me, like I said, your physique really, like I said, was slightly improved back and shoulders and just refined, and those lines. To me, that's as good, as big as your physique needs to be to be, like, you're knocking on that. You're like fourth in the Arnold Classic, you know. I mean, there was last year when you won in Prague, it was like, okay, this guy could be top 10 Olympia next year. Now they're saying, shit, could he be top 6? You know, exactly. So you're knocking on that next. You're already at the ceiling of that top level now.
You know, and the thing is, you have to take into account, you can't rush it, because you got to have that patience. I mean, as much as it is. Yeah, I would love to crack the top 6 at Olympia this year. Oh man, that would be a dream. But at the same time, I know that I'm only getting started, and I need to understand that I will give my heart and work my ass off. But at the same time, I won't push something before I'm ready. Yeah. And maybe it's because I've had to go through so much crap to get to this stage now. Yeah. So it's sort of taught me the idea of patience. It will come when it comes. But that's the same mindset I have now going into the Olympia. Is I know I'm going to work my ass off for it. But at the same time, I'm not going to stay here and say, oh, man, I'm going to do whatever it takes to crack the top 6. I'm like, look, it's my first Olympia. Guess what? I want to enjoy the experience first. And yes, I will be bringing my best, but at the same time, I need to take it all in because this is the first time I get to do this. And, it's, you know, for me, this is making history, you know. So get to enjoy that. Bring your best package, just like you did in Arnold. Improve yourself as you always do, but don't push the risk because of, you know, you think, man, they're expecting me to be top 6, so guess what? I'm going to do everything it takes to be top 6.
Bring your best and hope that it kind of works out the best. Like, it's like you, because I said to you, like I said, look, I said, even if, like, you looked amazing at the Arnold Classic and you got rewarded for it, you got a good placing, but you could have been robbed. You could have been, you know, you could have been beat by guys that weren't as good as you, but it still would have been a win for you in a way that you improved your physique. You brought your best, and you you could have still gone away happy technically. Yes, it worked out. So if you say, okay, then, first Olympia, I want top 10, and you get 11th. And it's out of 20 guys.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's good. Or if you say top 6 and you get 7th.
Yep.
You know, like you said, the patience and, you know, and like you said, you want to, you know, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, it's not a sprint. Like, we keep saying it over and over, there's a marathon, not a sprint. Everybody says, yeah, but then they want you to get there quickly.
Yeah.
Like, you got to understand, like, guys are coming to, if you want those physiques and they want it to change, you can't rush these guys into it. If guys are looking beautiful now and their physique, and you think, oh, yeah, you need 10 more pounds, you need to be bigger, you need to be bigger, you're going to rush them into it. And then they will get that size on, but guess what? They'll lose all the things that you liked about them in the first place.
Yeah.
So you really got to give them time to get a few knocks, to get a bit slapped back, because then they'll take the time to refine themselves and bring themselves better each time.
I remember when Ruli Winkler went to Kuwait the first time.
Yeah.
This was back in, I've got 2013 in my head.
Yeah.
And I remember he won the Nordic Pro.
I remember
and
that.
Because I actually thought Rowley's actually got quite nice lines, even
he has.
and this was in the early days. You know, he's got a beautiful physique, even though he's big.
Yep.
And he wasn't as big then, but I remember he put 30 pounds on, and I remember seeing the photo of the Nordic, and I went, "Oh, they've completely destroyed his physique. His waist has gone wide. He looks like a block." Yeah. And then came back to Body Power in 2016, and they brought the waist in, and he fixed everything. But it's like, so. You know, you don't want to sort of coming so much bigger and chase that size, chase that body weight. Yeah. I mean, imagine how devastated your fat, and you would be if you saw the photos and the video and you went, "Oh, I've completely ruined my physique, and I didn't need to do it. I didn't even need to do it."
You know, and to chase just a bit more size, so people can say, "Oh, he's bigger now,"
and then you get a lower placing.
And this it doesn't make no sense. So you do. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, we bodybuilders perceptive to the noise around us. I mean, we're all human, man. I say we started this because we go one side of this dysmorphia or the other, one side of disorder or the other. How you look at it, that's what we are. You know, we are more critical about our physique than anybody else could be. So when you hear a lot of people telling you, "Oh, you need more this, or you need more that, or you need this and all that," it does get to you, and you think, "Okay, well, they're all saying it, so it must be true." Yeah. And you completely disregard anything you've known in the past, anything you know that should be right, and you follow what they're saying, and then you make the mistake, and you come out later and go, "Why the hell did I listen? I knew this. Why didn't I?" And you shoot yourself in the foot every single time you do it. So that's, as much as it is, you do need to silence the noise and trust the people in your corner and tell them, look, when they say, "I wouldn't go down that route as you, this is what we think you need to do," you need to take it and actually listen to them. Yeah. And you know, most of the time people, like I say, you got the judges' feedback. You have to trust when they tell you feedback that most judges, they don't just come out and say, "Oh, you need more size." They will tell you you need more this, and that. Yeah. But then you go on social media, and social media tells you completely different. And what the judges told you right there, the ones that are going to judge you the next time they see you, you completely disregard that, and you've followed what you've heard on social media. Because there's so many people on social media that they pretty much repeat themselves and say the same thing. And you lose track of that, and you follow that, and you hear that months and months on end, because the judges only told you that once. Yeah. But now you've been hearing that for the last few months on social media. He needs more size, he needs more size. And then you fall sucker into that, and you follow that mistake, and before you know it, things are too late to turn around. I
mean, we were in Sweden like this time last week training with Martin Fitzwater, Branch, Keown, and everything at this gym and Martin Fitzwater, 24 years old, and he said this over this time last year, since working with Branch, I'm in the same condition, I'm 30 pounds heavier. And then there was people on social media criticizing his form. His reps are too fast. And it's like, "Oh, look at him training like Branch." Well, Branch was second at Olympia. Branch won the freaking Arnold Classic twice, mate. You know, really, is he going to take criticism? No. The guy is progressing at a rapid rate. And that's it. You know, and I think like, I suppose with yourself, you've just got to, you've got really good people around you. You've got Fuad, you've got Malenka, you've got Milos, you know, you've got Chris.
And this is it.
Wow.
This is one thing I've always...
What else do you need?
And this is one thing I've always been so proud of and been so glad of having, because even people have left, they've literally kept me on my lane right from the minute I started this, and they've watched over me, and they made sure I did the right decision, made the right decision at the right time, and not chase one thing or the other, and kept myself on track. And honestly, even till now, I mean, they were telling me a long time ago, way before anything, that Chris was always saying, "Oh, you're going to be a pro bodybuilder, or you're going to be one of the top in the world. You're going to be," and he was seeing that way from a long time ago, and he's guided me every step of the way to this point now.
He was there at the start.
You know, and now we're going to Olympia, and he goes, "Well, I told you." And I'm like, "Yeah, you did." You know, and he said, "I told you." And he goes, "Now he's telling me you're going to be Mr. Olympia. Watch." And I'm like, yeah. Well, watch and see. You know, you got what it takes. I'm telling you, you got your head on straight. You're listening. You're not just sort of acting off impulse of what's going on around you. you always come back down to the same ground level you were when you started, and you listen to those same people, and you don't get carried away with it. So keep listening, and you'll be fine. So when you've seen that happen year after year after year, you think, well, I know the formula that's worked for me. I don't need to listen to anybody else. I don't need to do anything else.
Let's look at like Dorian Yates, Ronnie Coleman, Brandon Curry by going out to Kuwait and that, eliminating all the distractions and being able to focus full. There's a lot to be said for the people that just kind of like, you used to watch Ronnie's and Dorian's life and you think, why is he living in Birmingham? Why is he training in this basement? It's because there's no distraction. There's it's his gym. He can shut it when he wants to. It's like he's able to just put his blinkers on. And like apparently if you were one of the gym members and Dorian was training, they said, look, don't even look at Dorian when he's training. Don't distract him. Just stay out of his way. It's like, I mean, okay, let's look at this picture here. Like, I mean, that for me, tell us what that means to you, this picture.
This for me is after everything we've been through. I mean, like I've said, less than a year ago, all this was just a dream and a vision of where we were to where we are now. And honestly, I wouldn't think in my wildest dream. You told me a year ago, man, sometimes you're going to buy this car, you're going to get a house, you're going to have to... I'm like, if you knew how much in debt I am in right now, you'd be buying off the wrong wall, man. Yeah. So being here right now after all that and standing there and watching this happen, it's like, it's surreal. And the same people I had around me then is the same people I have around me now. And for me to be able to share that with them, it's, I mean, what more can I ask for, honestly? What more can I possibly ask for in life? To go through all the mess with the same people, watch them struggle with me, watch us all fight to finally make it somewhere, and stand there and go, well, look, we did it. It's working. All that work meant something, So.
Very symbolic picture, this, isn't it? Man. Because like I've been following you since 2017, and I've spoke to you, I've interviewed you. God, how many? 7, 8, 9 times. Every step of the way, I've all the different ups and downs and the challenges you've had, and the way you've just kind of fought through it with Malenka at your side, and and it's like I don't know anyone that couldn't be happy for you. Do you know what I mean? With what, like normally, I'll be honest, right? When people post pictures of their new cars, I'm like, what a wanker. Seriously, but like this, I think you're one of the first times I've actually gone, good on him. I'm really, really happy for him.
Because like I've never hide my struggle. I've always made it clear. I don't feel the need to try to be something I'm not. And I've always said, look, when I'm struggling, I've let people know, it's a struggle. Yeah. When I've done something is hard, I say, it was hard. I've never think. When we went to Korea, same thing. I said, look, how hard and what we went through with it, and how disappointed I was, and how everything else, and how the struggle was, and how we kept on coming back after knock after knock after knock, and we kept on coming back and not giving up. And now people that follow the journey through that, they've seen it. It wasn't a case of they heard about it. They were with me when I was in the hotel room. They were watching my social media. They were watching every step of the way. They were with me when John died, telling me, keep your head up, he's going to get better. They were with me when I got, bad places and showed, look, you're going to get it next time. Don't worry, it's your year. They were with me through that. So now to see those people that have literally been through every step of it with me, and I'm here now, they saw it happen. It wasn't, who's this guy? They experienced it with me. They went through that struggle with me. So when you're here like this and they see it, that's why people can say, oh, man, wow, he done it. Well, if he can do it, shit, what makes I can't? Why can't I do it? Yeah. I saw it happen.
I was so glad that I came down to stay at your house. Yeah. I was so glad I did that, because I mean, literally, it was about 30 minutes of training footage. Yeah. I mean, I could have asked someone to film that and send it to us. Yeah. But I was like, you invited me to stay at the house and stuff, and I was like, I'm really happy I got to see that insight, because like I said, I've spoke to you. It's like a timeline of your career, of your life. But to see someone in their home environment, to feel the vibe, to feel the energy, to speak to Chris and have Chris talking when you're doing your set, and he's like, right at the end of a 3-minute video, and he's saying, he says, I was telling Samson he was going to be something special from the start, 2014, 2015, and to see those people have always had that belief in you. It's really nice now. Like, if somebody jumped on as a fan now, they'd be like, oh, the flash car, look at this, he's doing well, he's with Hostile, he's 4th at the Arnold, and everyone's, and it's like they probably, they wouldn't get to have seen that struggle and everything it's taken to get to that point where you could have quit once, twice, 3 times, more.
I mean, like, I always put it out there. There's been so many times, obviously, when hard things happen, and I've always put out there that, we're going through a hard time and it's struggle. Yeah. And how, how bad it feels, and how how much struggle it is for me to actually go back and actually train and actually believe that I can do it again. And, you know, I've always told people around me in my circle, they've been through it with me. They've seen me come to the gym and just feel like, you know, I can't do this. And they've talked me into, come on, get your ass up, let's do it. And they've made me train, they've made me go back at it, they've made me not give up time and time. And
just to get you through that tough time, to get you back on track.
Get back on track on it. You know, I remember even like because the reason why we chose to go to Korea in 2020, remember, I just got denied entry into the USA at Tampa Pro after prepping prepping for months, not even weeks. This is months after show.
I can't even imagine what that
I got to literally pack your bags, everything else, got to the airport and got turned away a weekend before the show that you've been prepping for months on. Yeah. So at that point, you can imagine how crushing that must feel, how much like your heart just sink and you feel like, you know what, it's all been for nothing. And then going back home and then speaking to, you know, calling Chris and calling everyone going, hey, we didn't get to get on the plane. I mean, imagine that. They've watched you train. They've trained with you.
Excited for you.
They say, okay, right, good luck with this weekend at the show.
They bought the live stream. They're waiting.
Ready, let's go. Good luck this weekend, man. I'm excited to see what you bring. And then you calling them on your way back from the airport going, they didn't let us fly. You can only imagine what that must feel like to be able to break the news to those people and what they must feel like at the time. So when literally that happened and then 2 days later I'm going, look, there's a show in South Korea that I think we might have a chance of doing in 2 weeks from now, but I have to go to South Korea and quarantine in a hotel room for 14 days without, you know, any training or anything like that. It's a long stretch, but there might be a chance that we might be able to do a show there. And they all looking going, you what? You know.
Oh my God.
And, you know, and first impression was like, no, it's not. It's impossible. It's not going to happen. And then we sitting there going, actually, you know what? Hell, what have we got to lose? Hell, we're with you. Go for it. You know, go for it. And that moment there, it symbolizes a lot because for me, I think that was one make or break moment where it's like one simple decision changed your life forever. Because
of that, you lost your job. Then you got hostage. And
I told them all this time, like, look, okay, if I go there, I'm going to be at risk of losing my job. If I go there, I'm at risk of losing a lot. You know, it's going to cost us a lot to be there. We're pretty much putting it all on black at this point. And hoping something happens. This is a cost. This is going to be hell. So is it worth the gamble or should we just nod our head and call it a year? And every single person right now, where we are, man, just don't take the chance. Just don't worry. Next time, there will be a next time. Just give it up, you know. But because they've seen how badly I've worked for this, how badly, you know, I've gone to a job, come out from after a bad day at work, told them about how horrible my day is, and say, okay, you know what? And they say, oh, forget that. Let's train. Don't worry about it. We'll pick yourself up. They've seen that time and time and time again. And they've experienced it. I mean, Chris, I used to finish work during lockdown, like I'm driving hours to go train in Chris's gym because it's the only gym that was able to allow us to come in to train. I used to go there, train an hour, and then drive an hour back home. You know, for weeks throughout the whole lockdown, like, just to keep for weeks and weeks and weeks throughout, and just to get ready for Tampa.
I didn't even think about that.
That's just to get ready for Tampa, and then we didn't make it on the plane. So imagine, so you got to understand where that pain was coming from. And then when we said about Korea, as much as they would say, oh, don't take the chance, they were like, well, all that work, all that sacrifice, all that time, and we're just going to say, next year. So they were like, you know what, go for it. Go for it. We're behind you. Go for it. Whatever happens, we'll stick behind you in it. So when I made that decision to go out there, it wasn't a case of, well, I'm just going to see how it goes. It wasn't, I'm trying all on the line here. So when we went out there, there was, oh, how did you spend 14 days in the room on yourself? Did you lose your mind? I was like, I know who was behind me. I knew what was at stake. I had to do whatever it takes. I had to really sacrifice everything and put it to the line just to make it happen, make it work. So when it obviously happened and then work find out and he's like, oh no. And then
he lost another blow, isn't it?
It was almost like just when you thought, okay.
Because you feared this was going to happen. And then it did happen. And you're watching it unfold. You're like, oh, worst case scenario is actually becoming reality.
And you're thinking, okay, damn, okay. Maybe this is a mistake. Oh, okay, wow. We're going to have to find a way to get past. When I get back home, we're going to find something about that. I'm sure I can hopefully find something. And then literally at that moment where you're thinking it's all, once again, you're showing that it's all going to crap. Then you get a call from flight saying, hey, Sam, do you want? I'm hearing your story. Do you want to come on the podcast and talk about what's going on? And I'm speaking with him. He's doing obviously the interview with me, and I'm telling him as it is what we're doing right there. You know, not explaining to how much risk is in that point financially and in my life at that point. Just tell him, look, this is what I want to do. And then obviously
without laying it on too thick.
Too thick, you know.
You almost like you're covering up a little bit. You know,
I smiled and laughed about it and go, make light about it. And then 2 days later, you know, when the interview goes out and everybody's like, what the hell? This is crazy. He comes back to me and he says, Sam, I told you you're under contract. And I'm like, no. He goes, how you? I'm like, no, this is all my money. This is all me. This is all me. And he's like, oh no. He goes, oh, I want you on hostile.
Oh.
You know. So imagine at that moment.
How relieved were you feeling?
Honestly.
Seriously, what was it like when you actually, obviously it's like you're literally doing this. It's low, high, low. It's like, it's almost like there's not even any highs. It's just low, 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 and then douche.
And this is it. So at that moment, it was more like,
God.
What? And because at that point, literally I've given up all hope about
we doing that on phone going,
you know,
let's talk money. Let's talk money. You know, do a little dance. You know, not on video call.
You know, and seriously, it was literally that moment. I called my missus and I was like, "You ain't gonna believe this." And she's like, "What?" I was like, "I think Ford wants to be on hostile." And she's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Oh, it's wonderful.
And you
wonderful.
know, so it's just sort of diverse that whole experience of having bad news being given over the phone over and over. And like every time you call, it's more bad news. Every time you get, it's more bad news. And then finally have this ray of light being thrown to you for one saying, here's a rope, you know, pull yourself out. And then you grab onto that thing with all your might with two hands.
Mate, it was meant to happen. And the thing is now it's really sweet now that you can, now your success, now you can give back to your sponsors, you know. And I mean, we could have done this on Skype. You've driven all the way here, you know, and it's like, it's just a feel good story that was really kind of. I mean, do you feel? How resilient do you feel now?
Oh man,
given what you've gone through in the last few years.
And this is why I laugh.
And all you've done is follow your dreams.
Yeah, and this is why I laugh when people go, "Oh, you should have got this place," and "Oh, you should feel down because you got that place," and "Oh, you should have won this." And I laugh and I go, "You have no idea how much better this is compared to what I was getting before." This is, you know. So the resiliency is so there. So when you know, I mean, Fuad called me and he said, "Oh, he wants me to do some guest spots over in the States for him," and he goes, "Oh, I know, I don't want to put you out." I'm like, "Mate, are you kidding me?" I'm like,
I don't want to put you out.
I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
you asked me to go to the North Pole, and I'll be like, yep, I'll get my skis. I'm like, yo, there's no. Oh well, I don't know. Look, you tell me, and I'll do anything.
That's nice.
You know, so it is that loyalty that comes from somewhere. It wasn't just. It came from you saved me when I had nothing else.
Yeah,
you really pulled me out when I was already at the bottom of my line. So when you have that, someone that really looked at you, because he had no reason, literally none, to sign me.
I mean, you hadn't even won a pro show.
Nope. I hadn't won a pro show.
Do you know what I mean? You just not like you had like 4 or 5 pro shows under your belt and you were like, you know.
No. I didn't have a big following. I didn't have nothing. He just literally saw what I was doing.
You were just someone with a lot of potential, but there's a lot of athletes like that.
Yeah, and that was it. And from there, he's like, oh, I'll throw you a lifeline. And I'm like, well,
brilliant.
I'm going to make sure I use this lifeline for all it's worth. You know? So
he was your phone a friend?
Oh, he really was. He was that, you know. And so when people looking now and they're going, oh man, he's doing so well for himself. I smile and go, but I know what it took to get there.
But that's why, like, I actually think a lot of people really like to follow your social media because it's, you know, if you're winning shows and you're doing well at shows, it's great to follow. But some of those fans, they just kind of like, they're the fans that pop up when that person's competing. Yeah. But you've actually got like a narrative, you've got storylines, and you're someone that people are really rooting for. And they were rooting for you even before this kind of, you broke through to this next level. Yeah. So like I said to you, I said, look, by not winning Korea, you probably got more fans than if you'd have won Korea. Yeah. And how do you, I mean, to make sense of that to most people, they'd probably be like, what the hell are they on about? But it did. And then what happened this year, and then Tino and Milos and winning Prague, and now qualified for the Olympia, getting invited to the Arnold. Now it's just a trajectory upwards now.
I mean, that's why I keep saying, I imagine that when I was in that hotel room in Korea and someone told you, do you know what, that guy that you see running over there in a spot in the hotel room, by next year he's gonna place 4th in the Arnold. They're gonna predict him to be likely to be Mr. Olympia.
Future Mr. Olympia.
You'd be like, what have you been smoking? You know, it's
eating your packet rice that's been left outside.
Like, it's on scene. You know,
You gotta. Sometimes you gotta eat shit to sort of really.
And that's it.
You know,
so
you gotta go through these times.
And this is it. So when you've been through that, it's very hard. It's very hard for you to get a blow now and not just shrug it off and be like, yeah, compared to what I've been through, this is nothing.
Bring it on.
You know, and it really does feel like that in life right now. It's just, and I constantly smile about everything because I'm like, you guys, you know, anytime I have to feel, you know, feel big of myself or anything, all I got to think about is, you know where you were less than 2 years ago.
I think you're someone. Even aside from the fact that you're of the person, your character you are, I think you're someone that will never lose their humility.
Oh no.
Because, and I think even if you were prone to that, I think you would probably just have to.
People in my circle will kick my ass.
You would just have to think back to how you were a couple of years ago, because you know it's not like you've just done that and your career's been. It's been like you've had a lot of stumbling blocks here.
Massively, massively. You know, and that's why I say it really does kind of make me smile now, and I do feel. I couldn't feel more grateful for the person I am now because of the people have around me and the opportunity that was given to me when I didn't have any. Yeah. You know. So,
let's sorry to interrupt there. Let's have a look at a couple more posts. I want to see, have you got your full posing routine on here from the Arnold Classic?
Yeah,
there's the Arnold UK.
That's the Arnold UK.
Is that the one with the little leg flick?
Yes.
Oh, I love this. Watch, guys, people, ladies, watch the way he does, and he hits his frontal bicep. It's just, it's that little twist of the hip, and the pose just comes alive. Watch this. This is incredible. Here we go. Oh no, it's not this one.
It's the routine.
Can I go? Actually, can I go to that? Because I've already hyped it up now.
Go back. I think you probably have to come down.
Oh, down. Yeah. I'm sure I saw something up before. It's when you do that little hip flick. It's so cool. It just, you know how sometimes you can make a little tweak to a pose, and it just you know that pose becomes yours. I don't think it's on. It's all Arnold Classic.
Yeah.
Let's pick any videos. I want to watch your video, Samson.
Yeah. Ones from Arnold.
There's some awesome stuff on here. That was Prague, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Prague. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. See the difference between.
This is off season. Look at that! Holy shit! Thing is, that was you're 10 pounds heavier than that now in the Arnold.
Yeah.
Let me see Samson again.
Well, you can see it on a rotation. There, look. Hey, still got your delts. Your delts were your strong. Your delts were your best body part then, mate.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Hang on, I'm going to go up because I'm sure I saw the because we're going to call this the Samson leg flick because that was the one we looked at, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sure I saw it. Hang on 1 second. Is it this one?
I think that was probably routine again, wasn't it?
The routine again. Yeah. We can't put the sound on because it'll bring up the old copyright. Oh, John Meadows, look. Oh, wonderful. I interviewed him once, and he was a lovely guy. I got a really nice vibe from him.
Oh, completely.
What a gentleman.
You know, completely selfless. Someone that really wanted to help.
That pose is beautiful. Look at that. That's Sean Ray, isn't it?
Oh,
Sean Ray posing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Every time people say my poses, they say, "Oh man, I see a bit of this and see a bit of that," because I got it from all them guys, though.
Yeah. Do you know what? I remember seeing John Meadows backstage at the 2016 Dallas Pro, and he was doing some towel pulls.
Yeah.
And he was in the 212.
Oh yeah.
And I couldn't get over how thick his upper chest was. I just walked past. I went, "Look at that guy's upper chest." It was like, you know when when they do the radial bicep and you can see their upper chest
from the back. Yeah.
You can see their upper chest from when they're hitting their radial bicep. It was like that. It was just it was so incredible. Do you know what? I can't even look at this now because your physique's totally different now.
Yeah.
This is like baby Samson. Baby Samson, isn't it? Come on, I want to see something. Let's have a look at something. Let's have a look at Cerberus. That was his birthday, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was his birthday a few weeks ago.
He had a birthday party
2
for the
years
dog. There's Bob. Rocking the yellow tie there. Let's have a look. Are we put some sound on?
Arnold posing routine.
Yeah, let's just watch this a little bit. Can we put the sound on, or can we put a little bit, or
copyright?
Can we put on a couple of seconds, or
no copyright?
Hang on.
Through this process, it's just accepting what I can change and change what I can accept, and just let that be that. You know, the stage means everything.
I think this was when was this the 2017 Olympia when he did the comeback?
Oh, no, because he redid that routine again.
I'll take the music off.
The original.
Oh, I'll take the music off. Sorry.
Because he did the original.
Oh, bollocks. Sorry. Sorry, say again.
I think he did the original in his Arnold win. It's 1998 Arnold win.
Oh, was that speech from that?
No, the speech was from where you said
2017. Yeah, because I was there. I was there when he made his comeback in 20 Classic.
That's where the speech was from.
Yeah, look at that. And I love the slow control posing. I like it. It's really like, especially when I know how excited you get on stage.
Oh,
you know?
Because it's very hard to stay slow and composed when you're that excited, especially when you're on a big stage like that.
But look at that. See, we were talking about, like, remember Vince Taylor, the small knees and the way the calves come out? It looks so cool. Thing is, I don't understand how you got small joints because you're a big guy. I mean, like the size of your hands, you know, you're physically a big person. You've got a big frame. Your skeleton's huge.
Yeah, and I really don't get it either. But you know, hey, I guess that's where genetics come into play.
Nice. What was it like? What did you obviously meet Arnold? Did you?
Yes. I met Arnold backstage for the first time. That was exciting. That was definitely daunting and exciting. Obviously, he's standing there with all his entourage and everything else, and obviously speaking to all of us bodybuilders backstage. Man, Arnold still loves this. He really genuinely still loves this, and you know when you can tell that excitement of someone actually just speaking to us, and you can see the excitement in him when he's talking about it. He actually stop and go, this guy, he doesn't do it for any other reason but the pure fact that he loves the sport. Yeah, and, you know, he's giving so much to it, and you can tell.
And you know that he's going to really dig your physique.
Oh yeah, that was very exciting to see.
Yeah, so is that Sean Wright? That's Dennis James. Dennis James, Arnold, Dennis James, Fuad. Who's that lady there? I can't see. It's too small. Sorry? No, it's not. No, she wasn't there this year. No, it's not Isabel. There's just probably some sports commentators. Kevin Nerone. The Kevin Nerone. I saw that in 2002.
Yeah.
I was there at that Olympia. I had my press pass. Yeah. When he did that, and I remember the place went nuts.
Honestly,
the place went nuts.
Even doing that at the Arnold stage, man, that moment, it felt electric.
Did it?
I was looking forward to that one moment so much, and the crowd did not disappoint.
It's like that. It's like it's his type of side chest. It's like it's like a side chest most muscular. Yeah. Well, it's not side chest, it's most muscular.
But you know, the crowd really didn't disappoint, and it was one of the things I wanted to do over and over and over again because it was just so electric, that part.
Beautiful. And do you know what? You managed to cram 3, but like the routine didn't go on and on and on and on. No. You know, it was really short, punchy. You did everything you needed to do in that. It was fantastic.
Really enjoyed that.
Let's have a look at the Cerberus's birthday party.
Boy, I always gets treated. Look at him.
Who are these ladies?
That's my nieces.
Oh, your nieces? Yeah. Oh, wow. King Cerberus. Look at that.
Oh, he's ruling the house.
Look at him. Look. Oh, he's lovely. Beautiful dog. Look at, what's he got on his neck?
He's got a little freaking bandana with his birthday thing.
He looks like a king. I bet he gets better treatment than you do on your birthday.
Yeah. Oh, he definitely did.
This dude about to get his own hostel. Look at him.
Man.
Are you glad you got him?
Honestly, he's completely a character. He's completely changed our lives, honestly.
Is he?
He's completely changed our lives.
In what way?
In both. It's just because he literally becomes a part of your family. Honestly, before I had him, I didn't realize. You know, people say they have pets and say, oh, they're like family to us.
Yeah.
Like, he's a dog. But then when we have him, I realize how much they really do come into your lives and they do change it. They become like your child in your home.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, but I was like, wow, I didn't realize how much compassion, how much love, and how much they give to you, how much fulfillment they actually give to you. And I'm like, wow, okay. Now I see it. I'm like, yeah, I'm never gonna criticize anybody who say, oh, I love my dog anymore. I'm like, yeah, I get it. I completely.
You now understand the plot to John Wick.
Yes, completely understand the plot to John Wick. And I think I will go on the same spree if someone did that to my dog. But I'm like, yeah, okay, where's the guns at? Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Some people gonna pay.
A whole city's about to die now. So I tell you what, you can really see your legs, the improvements in the size in your legs.
Oh yeah,
absolutely incredible. So, what was Boston like? Let's go to
Boston. Was amazing
because I had Jay Cutler on the.
Yep.
This which way they were they?
Up more. Actually, no.
Down. There's Boston there. Looks like they're calling you Flex Wheeler.
Oh,
look at your legs there. My God, there's some meat on there, mate. Milos, master of presentation, flowing graciously and not really doing the pose, but rather becoming a pose.
Oh, nice. I like that.
Wow.
What's that? Oh man, yeah, I didn't tell you about
AJ calling you the black and improved Schwarzenegger. Yeah, he was always in your corner, mate. Right from day one, he was hyping you from day one, mate.
Yeah, man. AJ did my first post-show interview, literally in Romania a few years ago, and since then, he's just always been right there with me.
That's a nice shot. Look at that. Look at the lines in your legs. That's very. To be honest, that's very Sean Roden.
Yeah, and this is it.
Very Sean Roden. Yeah, that's nice. And you can really see, and the thing is, you've got lines there, but I think in that picture, I think maybe because it's a side-on angle, I'll bring it up again, you can see actually how thick you are.
Yeah.
Like the delts and everything there, you can see like the dimensions of your freaking shoulders. I mean, they're gigantic there. So let's go through it. And do you want to say anything in particular, Laura? Anything you want to bring up? Tell us about this weekend.
All right. So this weekend,
Gabriel's show.
Yes.
Nice.
He asked me to guest post for him a year ago.
Okay.
I was last year to have the show, but the show didn't happen. And because I already promised him, it was supposed to be last year. I was supposed to be about 4 weeks out from the Arnold UK.
Okay.
And then
August.
About August time last year. And I already said yes to him way before that. I was like, yeah, of course, man, I'll come in, I'll do the show. Of course, why not? And then the show didn't happen.
Yeah.
And we sort of went up from there. Yeah. And then he basically asked me again, say, oh, next year, after you finish Arnold, do you mind coming then? We're doing the show, in May. Yeah. And he was sort of thinking, oh, I wouldn't say. I was like, dude, I already promised you I was going to do it last year. Of course I'm going to do it. Yeah. Just let me know. I'll come down and do it. So basically, that was how this came about, and he's really been.
I bet. Because remember Gabriel Parry? Yeah. He MCs Emilio Martinez's show.
That's the one.
NPC Spain.
Yep.
He MC'd the Big Man Weekend. He MC'd the NPC European. Yep. He's a judge. He has his own couple of. I think he has 1 or 2 shows of his own.
Yep.
So
yeah, and because he asked me way before the Arnold and everything else, so he didn't know.
Smart.
So after the Arnold didn't happen, he was like, "Oh, you're definitely coming now." I was like, "Yeah, I know, I'm still coming." But now this is gonna be this weekend, so flying out to Spain. This weekend to guest post of the show, and something I'm really looking forward to.
Nice little pout you got going on there, a bit of blue steel. There,
I don't know. They always seem to catch that moment. Right? I'm like, that moment must have been like a split second.
He's actually he's actually in front of the mirror. And he's going, baby, you're looking good today.
And because you hit in the vacuum, you're holding your breath at that certain point as well. So it's like, I don't know, you're taking in a breath and you're holding it in.
Bullshit.
They catch you right at that moment. Because I think because even the Prague one has the same freaking look, and I was like, why do they always catch me right at that moment?
I don't think he protests too much. Sorry, man, I'll let you're allowed it once, but then you look like the Joker. You look like doing a Joker face.
Oh yeah, I like that one.
But look at that. I like those relax when you walk on like that with your. It really, I mean, it's just you can see the lines and everything there. So quick, get off the pout. Get off the pout. Nice. And see, look, you've tagged in Chris, Malenka, Hostile.
This is it, by people.
Yeah, Milos obviously as well, but so there was still a couple more, and then we'll wrap up, and then we'll go straight into the hot news, and then you can start the shout outs, and you can give out your shout outs. Oh, there was a really nice video you posted by Hostile I want to play. That was a really nice video you posted the other day. Most Improved Pro of the Year. There you go. See, it must feel good getting those accolades and getting that recognition.
It really does, especially when you work so hard for something and finally have it seen now. It's like, wow, it really does. Yes, between the show you guys were at and Boston.
That's 4 months.
Yeah.
Look at the legs. Yeah. I mean, it looks like 2 of your legs make one of those now.
Just in that time, and that is something because honestly, I did not realize how much you could improve in that time until it actually happened. I was like, wow, okay, this is crazy, and all it just made me feel like if we can do that in that time, what can we do with the most time we have now? Yeah. So that's why it's so exciting.
I think I don't personally like having the Olympia in December, but from your point of view,
it was perfect.
With what you brought, because you did the Arnold and what you showed, what you could do in 4 months. Yeah. Like you said, now, and you're looking so good right now, here and now. Yep. It's like what you could potentially be bringing to the Olympia. Like I said to you last year, I said, mate, you could be top 10 Olympia next year. You've qualified now.
Oh, yeah.
And now I'm thinking, shit, could this guy be top 6?
I'm still holding on to the target of being top 10 because I don't want to overreach because I know for it's my first Olympia. So I'm still holding on to that target. But don't get me wrong, I'm going to fight my ass off to be as high as I could possibly be. But my target is, okay, crack the top 10 your first Olympia.
Yeah.
That will be sublime, you know. Absolutely awesome.
Look at that. That's a nice shot. These are nice shots. Who's these? These
remember.
are Raj Victus.
Yes.
Did you get any Walt Whitman shots? They're nice. He does he's got a signature like that in the middle. He does really nice shots.
I did. I didn't think he shot from the other side.
Yeah.
I do have some of these ones.
Your chest.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, mate, you're like, your chest is so full and round there.
And this is the thing, we try to capitalize because obviously Miller's always got to, no matter how much, he makes sure that we come in full as we can be.
Yeah.
And Arnold, he was like, yeah, we want you full. I was like, okay.
I've seen it before where Neil Hill is literally screaming at Flex Lewis to, like the night before was the Arnold Europe back in 2011, 2012. It was the 2011. And he's like, he was doing the open and he's like, and Flex is on the bed and he's like, he can't eat anymore. And he's like a turtle shell and he's sweating. And Neil's like, there's rice left in that container. Fucking get it eaten. It's like, is Milos like that with you? Just to say, look, we've got to fill out. I don't care if you're full, keep eating.
Honestly, especially in the Boston show, what we were kind of doing, we already did the high carb there, and it was late in the evening, the day before the show. Yeah. And I obviously just flew in from UK back in Boston, and I was already like, this is a lot of food. Yeah. I'm like, I can't eat anymore.
Plus, you want to be able to hit your vacuums, and it's like, a fine line, isn't it?
And I'm all stuffed, and we was like, yep, no, I think you have another 2 minutes before you go to bed. And then it was already late. It was already 11 p.m. We go, if you wake up about 1 a.m. and have another meal then. And you're like, dude, do you know how much food? It's just a lot of food. But then, he did it and it worked. So I'm like, okay, I got to trust him in that sense. So I'm like, yeah, he knows what he's talking about.
Can I ask you a question? Will you be honest?
Yeah.
Have you ever sworn and then apologized the next day to me?
Oh, all the time. All the time. That was not even a joke. Like, I don't even hide that one. I'm like, yeah, dude, what the hell? Man, yeah, all the time.
I'm so sorry, Milos. I didn't mean to, but I just couldn't eat anymore. I couldn't do it anymore.
Especially when he cuts your food, that is more harm, like thing, because it feels like it's one way or the other. He's always delivering bad news. He's always like, I gotta cut your food more, and then he's like, have some more food. I'm like, oh yeah. He go, no, have some more food. I'm like, oh yeah, have some more. Oh yeah, have some more food. I'm like, I'm full now. No, keep eating. Oh god damn it.
Because you said he makes like small adjustments, but I mean, there must come times when it's like, I wish you hadn't made that one adjustment because that one's going to hurt.
Oh, but he keeps pushing that. I mean, I remember when we were going out for I think it was after the finals. We're coming in for the finals of Boston. Yeah. And our was already full at the pre-judging, but he said, I want you fuller. And he kept on pulling food.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. I've been completely... Look at the condition from the back.
And that is what we learned from Boston.
What?
We learned that how much more time we need to give a little bit more time and start drying me out a little bit early. Because at the final, at the pre-judging we went as dry. At the finals, I've
never seen you that dry from the back. Because even when I saw you in your house, I couldn't believe how dug out I said your hamstrings are like Regan's. Yeah. They're getting that real dug out deep. It must be it must be a Milos thing. I don't know what he's doing with your hamstring routines, but it was and that was at 3 weeks out, so you weren't dried out, tanned up.
It was just that.
Yeah. But like that normally, because I've always said you could always be a little bit drier and tight. Yeah, but that looks like
because we learned. I mean, this is one thing I love the fact that we do so many shows because it just teaches us so much. Because at Arnold, we were obviously tied at a night show in the finals the Saturday that we were on Tuesday. Every show we do.
Say that again.
So at Arnold, when we did the pre-judging on Friday, we came back. We weren't as tight as we were on a Saturday when we did the final.
Oh, okay.
So we were drier on a Saturday.
Oh, you peaked at the pre-judging.
Yep. So we came in drier the next day. Same thing with Boston. We weren't as dry in the morning, but by the evening, we were like, whoa, what happened?
Because that was a 1 day.
Yeah, that was a 1 day.
Okay.
So where we finally learned is, we need to start that drying process a little bit earlier.
Right.
Because it always seems to be the finals, you always come back and go, what the hell? And even the judges came back to us after Boston saying, every single time you come back for the final, we always look and go, what has he done? He's completely changed from what he did.
Yeah. I mean, that's really, that from the back there is... That's not because you look full, you look dry. Yeah. I've never seen your legs that separated and that intercostal shot you do. I've seen some really nice high resolution shots, and your legs are so striated and dry. Look up there, we are. This is what I'm on about. This bit here, look. Look. All this going on here.
Yeah.
I've never seen your hamstrings, your glutes.
I've never been that dry in it. I gotta say that. That was for me. I was like, okay.
So what look did you personally prefer then? The Arnold or the Boston?
This.
Oh,
this,
really?
This,
Boston.
This,
Boston.
Wife. Honestly, the problem we had, we were trying to get oil on me before the finals, and no matter how much oil we were putting on, I was just drying up.
Soaked in.
It was just soaking in.
Yeah.
It took, literally, the girls, they got fed up of it, and they had to wait until the minute I was about to walk up on stage to spray me down with oil, because they kept on spraying and it just wasn't sticking
Your
to
body
it.
was just absorbing it.
Every 5 minutes.
It looks great there. The sheen looks great
there.
there.
Yeah, because that's, we had a meltdown in the pre-judging, put it that way. So by the final, we were like, no, we got to fix that quickly.
Was that the lights?
Pre-judging, we didn't have enough oil on.
Right, okay.
You know, and if you watch pre-judging, it was just like, oh my God, what happened? It was like a complete disaster. So when we came out final, it was like, smothered that thing everywhere. And we kept on putting oil on, and we didn't realize how dry we were.
Was that when I was messaging you?
Yes.
I was saying, get some bloody oil on. And you went,
that was it.
That's
that
right.
Was it.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
it. I was like, we know.
That's a handy thing about having these athletes' numbers. You can watch the
And
live
say,
stream and go, mate, I did the same for Wesley Vissers. I said, mate, get some more bloody tan on for the night show. You're going to lose it otherwise.
Yep, and this is exactly why. So we did the tan for the night time.
That's
and
right.
we smothered the oil on.
Good.
It was the first time that's ever happened to me before. I've never been in a place where you putting oil on and it wasn't sticking. It was just drying in.
Yeah.
And we were really shocked about it. We were like, what the hell? And we kept on spraying and it just kept on drying out. And we were like, okay, this is new. You know.
Hang on a minute. So this shot, come on, get up. This is, there we are. So that's Arnold and Boston.
Arnold and Boston.
So let's have a look. Yeah, you're definitely sharper. I mean, it's different lighting, different. So you prefer this look?
I prefer the Boston look.
Okay.
You know, because we still had the fullness, we still had the dryness, but it was just a bit more dry and gnarly in Boston, especially during the finals. It just looked a bit. I mean, I remember we were there and I was walking and you could see the hamstrings just popping as I was walking.
Wow.
And when we looked at that, we were like, yeah, okay, that's different.
What point though do you know that you are definitely better? Is it when you see pictures? Is it when you're backstage and you're posing in the mirror?
It's backstage. That moment.
Is it when Marlenka goes, oh? Yeah.
Backstage, and remember we obviously come back with the feedback and they told me that, whoa, that was different. But backstage, normally when you pump up before you go on stage, normally that's the moment it's like, okay, has everything. Because before that, you could be like, okay, a few hours before show, I could be dry. You're still waiting to be dry, get more dry with time. You're still waiting for the food to fill out, you're going to be full or whatever. But that moment where you're pumping up, you know everything has to have come together at that point. That's the point where you stand back and go, am I on? Did we nail it? It's everything. When you look at that side and you go through your poses there, you look and go, there's so much, then you see all the detail. And you're like, whoa, okay, we're on. And then that confidence, that feeling of, yeah, we've nailed this. That's where it starts coming in. You know, before that, you could probably look and go, okay, I know. You wake up in the morning, you think, yeah, I'm dry enough. But as the day goes on, you could flatten out, you could get dry, you could hold water. You know, that moment right before you walk on stage nothing can change at that point. You're there. So you can then tell, okay, have I ever been like this before?
I remember speaking to Tony Freeman. I had him on, right when I started Globe Muscle in 2019. And he said it was the 2008 Olympia. And he said it's like when all the stars have aligned, the universe, he says, like literally you know something, you just know. You don't, you know that everything, the fullness. He said, Giles, he says, the only way I can describe it is a full body erection.
That's a freaking
and I'd never forget.
That's an awesome disclaimer. That actually makes sense.
Because I remember, because AJ got it mixed up and he said full body orgasm. And Tony went, guys, full body orgasm is quite different. He says, you don't want to be having one of those on stage. He said, it's like, he said, you literally feel like a god. Yeah. He said, because you know that's as good as it gets.
Yeah, and that's it. You know,
great
you're
feeling.
Literally at your absolute best you've ever been.
Euphoric.
Oh man, it really does. And you walk out with that confidence of yes, I know I'm good. I know I've got it right. And there's that feeling of it because any other time when you know you don't have it, you can tell the guys that know they don't have it. You can tell when they walk out and they hit their poses. You could just tell that they're not themselves. They don't hit it right. They don't hit it with confidence. They feel like they just want to get it done and get out of there. The guys that know that they've nailed it round the head. You see them on stage and they feel that they want to stay there for longer. They want to hold it in the pose for longer.
Imagine like Ronnie Coleman, that 2003 Olympia. Imagine when he's got his. Sometimes I visualize the other guys backstage when he just unzipped. They're thinking Ronnie's looking kind of big in his tracksuit. He's blown it. He's off. He's not dieted. And then he unzips the tracksuit and it's like, oh my God, this guy is 288 pounds and I can't imagine. I mean, like my first show, I did literally everything within my power to look as good as I could, and I won. It was straight first. I was first call out in the center, you know, and I look. People said even backstage, they say, "Giles, how is this your first show?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "Well, why you seem so, you're not nervous?" I said, "No." I said, "I'm confident." I said, "Because I know I've done everything
you could possibly. Yep.
And then you go to a show where you you could have done more, and even if it's a good placing, you know in your heart you could have done better.
And this is it. And you do get that every time. You do know when things have just all come together. You do know when it's just not quite as good as it. Because I will say, there's one
you can't cheat yourself.
No, you can't. And it does show, you know, and especially when you kind of go there, you're about to go, and you start pumping up, and that pump comes through, and everything comes out, everything just, your body just seems to respond, and everything just pops exactly the way you were hoping it to be. And you look in the mirror and you go, whoa, yeah, okay. It's such a good feeling. It's such a feeling that it's just this feeling of, wow, triumph. Yeah, okay, regardless of what happens now, I've done my work to the utmost. Now it doesn't matter. The place is in there, place me wherever I want. But I know from my point, I've done what I was supposed to do. And you come up on stage with that, it's the best feeling in the world to work up with.
It's like I said with the Arnold Classic. I said, you know, you knew you'd improved. You know you improved in a very short space of time. And like I said, then you got the good placing and you got that first call out. You're like, you must have been like, yes.
Man.
Like even if you'd have been sixth in that first 6 guys called out, you know that you've been acknowledged, that you're worthy being compared to Mr. Olympia, Brandon Curry and William Bonac and all that.
So you know that those feelings, I mean, come on, man. You think about your first Arnold and you get call out
incredible
there. You like, you think you go in with a hope that maybe, I know that I've done well, okay, but am I good enough for that? But when it happens and you're there, man, believe me, there's nothing more nerve-wracking than the moment they're about to do the call-outs. People do not understand.
Not the placings.
No, the call-outs.
Okay.
The placings are not as bad as the call-outs. Believe me, the call-outs are because the placings, from where you place, where you're done and put in the call-out, you could sort of guess roughly where you're going to place.
Yeah.
You know, okay, am I fighting for 5th? Am I fighting for 6th? I mean, fight for 1 or 2? You could sort of have an idea. So when they're doing the placings, you're like, okay, if they're not going to call me now because from the call out I know that I'm not 6th. Okay, from the call outs I know I'm not here, so you're a little bit more relaxed. I mean, when it gets close to you, you be like, okay, I know I'm roughly about here. So if they call me now, I'm sort of expecting it. I might not like it, but I'm sort of expecting it. So that the call outs, you have no idea. You just come out, you've done your best, you've done your bit, and you're standing there.
Plus, like, I'm always impressed with how good, like, Steve Weinberger can scan a lineup.
Oh yeah, and pick out. Bam, bam.
And I mean, you guys haven't even hit a pose. You just stood there relaxed. And some guys don't look good front relaxed. They don't stand. Some guys don't look good until they actually start posing. They can blend in. Like I've looked for big names sometimes, and I've gone, I can't. Oh, so and so's not here. And I'm like, oh, he's there.
Yeah.
Because they don't. And then you get some guys that just look incredible, stood there relaxed. You know, they really stand out. You know. So I always. Yeah, I suppose when you're there like that, you're like thinking, shit, am I looking good enough how I am just stood here relaxed to get noticed?
You can't see the other guys because you're all looking straight. So it's not like you're going to go, okay, I'm going to check him. No, you can't. So he's not. So when they've done all the and they pull you all to the side and say, okay, right, first call out, here we come. At that point, you're thinking, okay, am I first call out? Am I second call out? Am I third? Where exactly? How good am I at this point? Are the guys better than me? Am I not? Yeah. So you're literally at that point where you're thinking,
I mean, I think there's no shame, like even if the Arnold Classic, there's no shame being third call out. There's no. When it's the best of the best, it's an invitation-only show. You've got to be good enough to even get the invite.
Exactly.
But you still secretly, you still want to be first call out.
You're human. You're going to hope for the best. It's like, okay, I'll gladly take first call out. Okay, you don't get flats. Okay. At least I'll gladly take, center or second call out. You hope, you hope like.
Plus, I think secretly, well, not even secretly, you were hoping to get compared to the guys to the level above, the Brandon and the Bonacs.
And that's it.
You really want to get your opportunity to just, even if they're gonna, even if Bonac's gonna beat you.
Yeah, you just want to compare. You want to be able to see.
You want to get compared.
Yeah. So so when you're there, you're standing, and Mel always said like. She goes, that's the worst bit. She goes, she almost want to throw up at that bit because it's so nerve wracking. I was like, even me standing down. And the thing is, with that one, I was the first number. So when they do the call outs.
Oh yeah, because they can do it straight away.
Yeah. When they do the call, if they don't call your number, that's it. First call. So it's so horrible when they do the call and they skip your number, they call the next guy. And you're like, oh crap, I'm not in this call out. Oh, it's horrible.
So your name has to be called first, or that's it. And then you've just got to hear all the other guys in front of you.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So when you're there, and I remember it was one of the shows I did, and I can't remember what show it was, but they were calling numbers, and I was so focused on like, oh my god, and they called my name, I didn't hear it, and they moved on.
Oh no!
And then I stood there like,
they go, Samson.
Literally, I stood there, I was thinking, and then it's like, what are you doing? They're calling you, and I was like, oh, I have to run in. I was like, oh my god,
your frown goes, ding.
Yeah, literally, it was literally like, oh my god, oh, it was me, and so if you do the Arnold, man, when they called that first call out, it was almost a feeling of, oh damn. This is at this point I'm winning. I don't care. I'm winning. It's cool. I'm good.
I was so happy when I heard you made first call out and stuff. I was because I said to you when I interviewed, I think it was after the Romania or one of the shows, and I said I just hope. Well, it would have been way after. I just hope that you get that chance. I hope you get that first call out. That's the goal, because anything that.
Yep. Anything after that is like cool.
It's a bonus.
It's a bonus, but that is one of the.
Because you don't want to turn up looking your absolute best, bring in a new package, and they go. By the time you get third call out, and they're like, "Oh, he is really good," but we've already made a decision.
Yeah,
I've seen that happen before as well.
Exactly. You know. So I mean, for me, that was definitely like okay. From that point, it felt like it can only go up from here because I'm already as happy as I'm going to obviously get. So it's like, okay, great. And, and he did, he really did. So I was like, yeah, from that point, I'm like, yeah, excited.
Samson, before we go to the shout-out segment, we'll have a quick break. I'm going to leave on this Team Nino because this guy knows his stuff. I see this man as the next Mr. Olympia. Milos is a sculptor. I'm going to like that. I'm going to like that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, shit, wrong one. That has got now 18 likes.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, brilliant.
Right, okay then. We'll be right back in a few seconds, and I'm going to go to your shout-outs. You're going to give some props to some of the people that have helped Samson become the great man he is today and who he's going to be.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
All right, guys. See you in a minute. Okay, guys, we're obviously no hot news this week because obviously Samson is in the building, so we're going to do a Samson Dauda shout out special. So who's first up for you then, Samson?
So obviously first off is my coach, Milo Shachev.
Never heard of him.
the
maniac.
Well, that's a quiet name I call him. Obviously for everything that he's sort of put us through, and he sort of took me and my physique from one level to the really to the next. Showed me how to really capitalize on the potential I do have. Showed me how to bring in my condition, how to put in that size. The thing is, when you work that closely with someone for so long, they end up being a real close friend to you, and that's what he is right now to me. I speak to him about everything, and even to the point that I even helped him buy a car last week because I bought mine, and he was like, "Hey, is that your new car?" I'm like, yeah. He goes, I want one now. So Milos went out and bought his one as well, But yeah, we've been so close since we started working together, and he's just been absolutely amazing with me. And he's been close to me, close to my family, and I honestly just going forward, I can't do this without him because he's just been absolute star in every way.
He has been, isn't he? He really has been the John Meadows thing, and he came in and he didn't just take over the role that obviously the hole that John left as a coach, as a friend, but it was almost like he kind of. Like your mental state, where you were and how you were feeling, and you're thinking, it was just.
As soon as he saw me when I started to work with him, as soon as he saw me, and he was like, "Man, where have you been all this time? I didn't know that you even existed." And he was like, "Whoa, the potential was just through the roof," and he was excited about just getting me to the next point. And now every time he speaks and I send him up there, he's like, "Man, I just get goosebumps when I see all this." He goes, "Man, the potential of what you have to reach." Is so limitless, that he's excited about it, and he's more. I would say he's almost more excited than I am about what we have in store for the future. And every time I speak to him, it's just a breath of fresh air when he tells me, "Look, what we're gonna do next," and he's so excited about it. He's so interesting. His knowledge is insane. It's genuinely insane. What he knows on the little tweaks he makes, they change the game each time. And honestly.
The thing about but your physique though, it's like a 90s throwback, but with the size and the conditioning to literally dominate today as well. So I can see why he's so excited, because you would have fitted right in the 90s. You would have been right up there. You would have been at the Arnold Classics, the Olympias, and you'd have been competitive then.
And this is such a beautiful thing to hear. Especially from someone who's doing it then as well, and having someone like that to show you now. So for him, honestly, couldn't be more. happier to have a coach like that. And honestly,
Yeah.
I look forward to what we bring in the future.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously head to Milos's page, and I mean, he's just, well, where do you even start with Milos? He's done so much he's done so much in the industry as a pro.
Oh yeah.
And now he's still bringing so much value to the industry with what he's doing now for guys like yourself,
100%.
So anyway, right, okay, we're going to go on to the next one. It is, take us to, who's this guy?
So next one, obviously, is the horse himself, my boss, my good friend, sponsor, forward, and not just him, but also a hostile team, and his wife, Summer. Honestly, like I said, they came in and they changed my life. They came in at a dark time, and a time where I really did not have any more no more strings to pull on, nothing else. And they gave me a chance and gave me a shot. And honestly, I couldn't be more grateful for them, because they had nothing to gain from doing that. They just saw this guy that was trying his hardest to make things happen, and it just wasn't working. And they said, you know what, okay, let's just help you out a bit. And since then, they've been behind my back every step of the way.
Isn't that the best time for someone, for you guys to have faith in each other, and for you to feel loyalty and appreciation for him? The fact that they came in not when you just won a pro show or you just got fourth, because some of these companies, they'll literally ignore you until you win a pro show, until you get a fourth at the Arnold. But they were actually instrumental in helping you do that, because you were you were really kind of in a bad situation, and they kind of
And the thing is, since then, I mean, I've had loads of company approach me since after the Arnold and everything.
Really,
else.
I bet, yeah.
And I just smile and goes, "You got no chance in hell." I'm sorry, but you don't. So honestly, when you say about loyalty, my loyalty is completely to them and everything they've done for me. I just cannot see it any other way.
I feel back when he was competing, he was one of my favorites, and I thought he was actually one of the most underrated pros.
Oh yeah,
I thought he was really underrated. I really, really liked him. I remember when he was going back and forth with Dennis James competing. It was about 10, 15 years ago now. I thought he was amazing. And Summer used to be one one of the editors at Muscle Mag.
Yes, I did.
She was, because I used to work for Muscle Mag, and she was one of the ones. Summer, she competed as well.
Yeah.
She was awesome.
I told us about that. And,
a great couple.
Absolutely awesome. And speaking to them and everything, opportunity they've given to me, honestly, what can I say?
There you go. There you go. Big shout out there. I mean, that's. There you go. This is. I mean, he's still a big. He's still huge, though, isn't he? He's still a tank.
He's still going at it.
Dennis James was awesome.
Oh man, wow.
That was 2008. 2008. Wow. Oh, he was amazing. He was amazing. Amazing. Yeah. So obviously big, huge appreciation there to Fuad, because like you said, you could, it is a solitary sport, bodybuilding, in many ways, but without a good team of people, you can't even be the solitary athlete if you haven't got that support network.
You do need that support network behind you. Honestly, it does keep you, not just keep you grounded, it keeps you on your real path and everything else. And they support you when you're down. They support you when your mind is in the right place. They support you even when things are good. They know how to pull you back and say, look, head and then keep your head straight.
Good point.
We're not there yet, you know. So honestly, the best thing behind you is what you can probably. Best thing you possibly have.
Awesome. And that's a supplement company that's absolutely. I mean, 2 years ago, I mean, they were a small, obscure company. Now they're really global now. I see them everywhere.
And now they're going to get bigger as well.
Good. And it's nice to see companies like that are actually investing in the athletes and people like yourself and people with not just. I mean, you had potential. Now you're living that potential. You're realizing that. You know, and it's nice that they can be a part of that and not just jump on the bandwagon.
Oh, definitely.
Basically, is my point. You know. So, okay, I'm going to go to your boy, Chris Jones. Yes. So I was just talking about beforehand.
Yes.
Tell us about Chris.
Now, Chris basically, before there was bodybuilding, before there was muscles, before all of that, when I was just the little skinny dude working in the hospital, and I met Chris's wife, and I basically said to her, look, I want to put on some muscle. Like, can you help me out? And she was like, oh, let me introduce this to my husband.
Wow.
And this was back in 2009.
2009.
And, and I went to Chris's gym. He had a really old school bodybuilding gym at the time. I remember walking in there and just seeing all these big muscly guys standing there. I'm thinking, holy crap. I was thinking, oh man, I took a wrong turn somewhere. This is definitely not for me. Yeah. And right at that moment, you know, Chris just smiled and he was so welcoming and so accepting for me right from the get-go.
Yeah.
And, you know, I said, look, I just want to get some advice on how to put on muscle. And he did me up a diet and told me to go away with this and see how I get on. few months later, I showed back up, and he looked at me, he was like, whoa, what the hell? And he did not believe the changes that could happen at that time. And from that moment on, he just been right there every step of the way. Every step of the way, every year, every month. He's always right there helping me out in everything. And every time I needed advice, every time I needed insight into everything. Even at that time, I wasn't even planning on competing. I just wanted to put a muscle on, you know. And when I first decided to compete back in 2014, I went up to him and I said, look, tell me about bodybuilding. And Chris was the man to do it, you know. So he's been there every step of the way, and he watched it.
That's when we came down the other week.
That was the other
that
week.
Was my trip the other week. Oh my God, the drive back. Oh my God. I think it took me half as long to get down as it did get back. I must have gone, I went the wrong, well, it wasn't the wrong way, but I caught a load of traffic.
So Chris, definitely, and he owns, obviously, Evolve Gym in Raleigh. Still training out of there.
I'm trying to think, this might be my picture. Oh, this was the picture from... Did I take that one, or was that?
2011.
Yeah, that was 2011 British final. Because he was middleweight British champion.
Oh yeah. And
his conditioning was ridiculous. 80 kilo. I was there. Well, I was there.
Chris is always a conditioning guy. Man.
I think Amjad took this one, or is that one of mine? Because we were both doing the photos for MD for the cut, and his conditioning was shocking.
Ridiculous. Chris, I mean, when it comes
great
to conditioning,
bodybuilder,
you can't rate any higher. Chris
is
ridiculous. And look at that.
Yeah,
we're two people. Right there. Just, I mean, who will see the irony of that? Seriously, I mean, when they did that photo back in 2012, and you look at it now, like, whoa,
10 years later, man. 10 years later, and they're now sort of helping you achieve what you want to achieve as an athlete, you know, as a pro.
Absolute dream right there, you know.
So that was, what was that? Hang on.
That was one of our training sessions going into the Arnold. You know, I told you, Chris took me through my back sessions every Monday. He grinded with me, even. As a retired, you know, Chris is a retired bodybuilder, but he still went through the grind with me, pushed it through with me, and kicked my ass a lot of the time to get me to improve my back. And,
Samson, I filmed this. You were doing these. I mean, he was training with it. He wasn't training you.
No, he was training with me.
Yeah,
and this is what you got to understand. Chris is a soldier, and he's through and through. Loves bodybuilding to the core.
I like this movement. What's this bar thing for the? Because I do it either with a rope or I do one armed or with a straight bar.
The straight arm pull down.
This looks good.
Absolutely awesome for working out the outer lats.
Oh, okay, the outer lats, not the lower.
No, it's more the outer lats and sort of getting that front. Lat. You know when you hit the front poses, to really get that out. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, learning all these new things. So so obviously, and then we're going to go on to your friend Neil Dees, but he's set to private.
No, Neil has been Neil is a family friend, and honestly, you know, I mean, everybody must have this one person. When I'm having my own breakdown or anything like that, the one person that calls that makes you see reason.
Right.
This is the person that I've always thought now. The person that I speak to right before I do anything that I'm not sure about, anything that I have doubt about. He don't just, you know, he's always been there to not just advise me, and that's not even me, but Mel and everything else. And he always makes me see things from the other side of other point of view with everything. So
Smart.
from, you know, when we went in Arnold, and I was, you know, kicking up a tantrum about things ain't going right, I'm losing my shit and losing it. And Mel can't talk me now. He just can't talk me. You know, Neil has a way of obviously bringing me back down by making me stop and think. And he would do things like, okay, did you look good yesterday? I'm saying, yeah. Okay. So tell me, in 24 hours, what can you possibly do to ruin what you look like? And I was like, did you eat loads of crap all night? No. Did you do this all night? No. So how can you possibly look much worse than yesterday? And you stop and think, you have a point there. So he's that guy that is, with everything we've been through in our lives, he's always been there to just advise us and, you know, to really be that true friend, to really kind of hold me together, especially when times are hard and when times just seems like everything's falling apart. He's always been there. And this year, we're all going to be going to the Olympia, which is something that it was a dream for all of us through last year and everything else. Like, oh man, we all got to come in. We all got to show support. So Chris, Neil, Fuad, Milos, we're all going to be going to Olympia this year. And, you know, honestly, I feel proud to be able to say, look, we did it as a team, all of us. Not just, it wasn't just me, it was all of us. We made it happen. We achieved it. So going to the Olympia is going to be a celebration for all of us, honestly. So, Neil, I mean, I know your account's private, but I told you about that yesterday.
I want to know what's on his account now. I want to see if there's anything juicy on there.
Because he only just got married. He only got married just about a few months back. So, Neil, thank you very much, man. thank you for always looking after us, not just me, but Mel, and keeping us on the straight and narrow, man. Really appreciate it.
And it's nice you can take all those people that have been there from the start of the journey to your, because at the end of the day, the Olympia is kind of like the pinnacle, but also for you as an athlete, it's almost kind of like a new beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's the start of now your Olympia assault, you know, which is like another level to what you're doing.
Exactly that. And to be able to
so it's nice that they can all be there.
They'll be there and come through it, the whole journey with me, the whole time. And now we're all here standing and going, hey guys, we're here. This is our next stop now. Let's battle out.
Nice.
You know, them to see the whole journey and be here as well. I mean, it's nothing but just something to feel proud about, honestly. So yeah, completely. Yeah.
Right, and finally, before we wrap up this awesome episode, the Samson special, we have.
And obviously, as they say, behind every great man, there's always a greater woman, right? So this Malenka, Mel,
there you go.
My lady. Like I said, loads of people that don't know the story. The reason why I even decided to bodybuild in the first place was because of this lady right here.
Like he's chewing her ear off.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Wonderful.
So this is my family, man. This is what keeps me going. This is what holds me down. This is what
I love your pictures.
Make me understand why I do this and why I get up and I have to keep doing this.
What is your why?
And this is it. This is my why. Right here, you know, and honestly, what Mel has gone through, you know, a lot of people think that, you know, when bodybuilders say the other half, they think that, oh, she's just the one that probably just cooks the meals and does the cleaning and stuff. No. Mel, I mean, if you didn't know, she used to prep me for years, year after year after year. Until
she did, yes,
she used to
of
prep
course,
me for a long time, until John came in and Milos came in.
Yeah.
Mel was my prep coach. She was the one that knows everything. And up to this day, she knows every single number, because I'm not good with numbers. People are, oh, how many calories you on? How much protein? How much carbs? I'm not like, you know, I'm somewhere around that. She knows specifically every number of everything I have. Everything.
Wow.
So she knows all of it. So she's that involved that even now, when Milos is telling me, okay, this is what I want to do, he checks in with her first. Like, what do you think? And she's like, oh, I think you should. And they work together to get me at my best.
Wow.
So you got to understand how important this lady is to my life and to bodybuilding to me. It's not just, well, she helps him out. She does now. She is the team. She is part of it. And she does do every single part, play every single role with it as well. So, and she already has her career that she's completely committed to, and it takes a lot of toll out of her as well.
Yeah.
But she still puts me there and prioritizes me on top of all that. So
the camel there.
Oh yeah. I was Egypt last year. She got scared of that one. Like, I was just way too high. She was like, yeah, I can't do this. I can't do it. I gotta come off. I was like, way too high.
Fantastic. That's a nice picture. You told us about the camels. You were telling us a story about all that when you obviously competed at the KO Squad Egypt show last year.
The next day was the show, the day before the show actually.
Yeah, let's have a look at this. Watch this video. Go watch this.
That's when you don't realize how high a camel stands up to.
I gotta be honest, she looks nervous.
Oh, she was definitely nervous, especially when he stood up. She was like, oh, she said, oh, I gotta come off. I can't do that. It was way, you know, they tell you, oh, lean forward with it and then lean back with it as it gets up. But they don't tell you how fast and how high they actually stand up to.
Yeah.
When they do, it's
funny looking things, aren't they? Funny looking creatures.
Dear. Well, yep, that was a scary moment.
So like I said, this is it's all you, Cerberus, and her, and that's the family. That's the family unit. And
yep, and that's us. You know,
that's you.
Everything we sort of worked together. I mean, we started it right there from the bottom. You know, from the scratch and everything else, and that's us right after the Arnold. You
Beautiful.
Know, and
look how happy you are.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely, it speaks in. I mean, you know, you can work hard and everything else, but when a plan actually comes to effect and it happens and it works, I mean, how can you not be happy afterwards? I mean, how can you not feel like, wow, you know, it worked out? You know? You can work all your hard work and just fall short, and you leave and go, okay, at least I did my best. But when the results actually comes forward and it goes presents itself like, yeah, well done. You're over the moon. You're just like, wow. How can you not be happy? And then to have the people around you that helped you to share that experience with you as well, and to know what it means. It's enough reason to want to do this. It's literally enough reason to want to do this as long as you can, you know. For every time you get to experience that, to be like, yo guys, we made it to the next step. Look, we were here, we did it, you know. And it's incredible. It's incredible.
So I just honestly, for you, man, I feel like just only good things are going to happen from it now on. And I feel like everything's just kind of falling into place. You've kind of all been through this journey and all these obstacles and this, you know, and you've been together from the very start. And I feel like it's just, it's going to be exciting as a fan, as a friend, to sort of watch what comes for you next, you know, because I think it's just going to be a continual rollout now for you in terms of success and progression.
Thank you so much. I mean, we're working our ass off to make sure that happens, and you know, I got a team that keeps me down, keeps me focused, regardless of everything that's happening to me, to tell you, okay, right, I know you're happy where you are now, but we still have the bigger picture, we still have the next part, we're not there yet, we still have to keep working, and you need to get your ass together on the line. And they're already on my case now, going, okay, Olympia, we want you, we want you to be this, we want you to be that, you know. Awesome. Milos is pushing me, Chris is already telling me, okay, mate, when we're gonna start our back sessions again, you know, and they're already on me like, okay, have your break, but let's get working, you know. So I mean, you have people like that, you have great people like that. I mean, honestly, how can you not be blessed? Honestly, I was just about to say they're blessed, actually. Exciting times, mate. Exciting times. Well, Samson, we've got to go training very soon. So I'm doing shoulders, you're doing chest, correct? Yes, indeed. Okay. Please don't pick up 80 kilo dumbbells. I can't be asked picking them up, man. I don't want to drop those on your toe. No. I'm taking Milos wouldn't forgive me. No, at all. He'd be like, it was all Giles. I'll be like, oh, it was Giles' fault. Giles told me. It was all his fault. So, well, Samson, this has been an absolutely incredible episode. I hope all you viewers have enjoyed watching this and hearing. You know, because like I said, you do fantastic interviews on Skype, and they've always got better and better. So, I mean, to get you in the studio like this, it's like it's a whole new level. It's a whole new level of brilliance in terms of podcasts and content. So thank you so much for coming on this way. It means a lot, mate. Thank you so much for having me, man. Really appreciate it. Always wanted to drive down to do this, so this was definitely a tick off my hat. So yes, thank you so much for having me, man. Really appreciate it. Really enjoyed it as well. Well, it's a drive up, not down. Oh yeah, you're driving up. Drive up north. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Samson, thank you so much. And like I said, hope you enjoyed this episode. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting. Don't forget to hit the notification bells, and we are out.